what makes you a woman according to this gender definition.
Oh, according to this gender definition, I mean, so all right, so let me give you the definition of women that a woman that I'm going to use, which
Hmm.
is an adult human whose gender identity aligns with their schema on the female sex. Okay, that would be more specifically a cis woman. A trans woman would be an adult human whose gender identity does not align with their schema on the female sex. So it's a psychosocial thing.
So what you're
I do have
saying is just
receipts if you want.
adult and feminine, right? That's the two things. Well, does it matter if they want to be?
It's
What if
it's
their behavior doesn't align with their sex, but they don't like that it does? They wish it did align with their
so
sex.
it's not that they want or don't want, it's that they are, right? So it's not just like, oh, I want to be a woman or I want to be a man. This is how their brain functions, right? This is just who they are. This is how they are born. They don't want to necessarily be trans or anything like that. Even before they understand what transgender even means, they can still have feelings. Like we've seen it in as early, I think, as like 4 years old, that some children are like they would probably obviously not say, oh, hey, I'm trans at 4 years old, right? But they will start showing signs in some cases. Obviously, some can be much earlier, but it is generally a genetic or biological disposition.
So if there's a male, right, who's attracted to other men, yeah,
Yeah,
and he acts feminine and wears dresses, but he says he's a man still, he's a gay man.
yeah.
Can I go up to him and say, no, you're a transgender woman because your attributes are stereotypically feminine.
No,
Thus, according to your definition, that makes him a trans woman, right? Because his
no,
attributes align with women.
no.
W-
Because he just wouldn't identify as a woman. Simple.
Right, so it's all about
It's
uh,
about their self identity. That's what it is. It's their
yeah,
internalized self identity. Um, so it's not like
right, but that's partially a decision, don't you think? Like they can
um
choose to identify as anything theoretically, right?
I mean, when it comes to this, it's not like they're trying to identify as something they're just straight up not, right? Because man and woman are simply social constructs. They're very flexible. They've always been very flexible. Like transgender people have been seen throughout history and stuff like that. That doesn't necessarily address your argument because I'm still trying to practice that. I don't have a lot of practice doing it over voice yet, so I
I mean,
apologize. But
that's why your definition, right? Like
yeah,
it's a social thing by that definition, but by
well,
another definition, it just
so
isn't.
so well, I mean, regardless, gender and sex are definitely separated. That's just been widely known for a long time now. So if you disagree with that, I don't know what to tell you.
I
Um,
mean, that's a definition, right? That's not like a piece of
no,
knowledge about reality that you can obtain. It's a definition. If I wanted to, I could create a movement that separates the words, I don't know, species and kind or whatever.
sure,
Two
but
words that previously meant genetics. I can separate them into the genetic one and the social one, and now we can all be dogs according to our
I mean,
animal instead of our
I
species,
mean,
whatever.
hey, you can try that if you believe in it. I don't think many people would follow you because I don't think you'd have much evidence to back it up. But
What evidence? It's a definition. I can make up a word for the social
sure,
attribute
sure,
associated
yeah.
with
Then you have to
dog.
prove. Then you would.
And
You can make up
prove what?
whatever definitions you want. But whether or not someone's going to follow those definitions is going to be based upon whether or not there's information to back up the word. Yeah, we could argue it's
Uh,
just words are words, right? We can argue that no word has meaning, but functionally in a society, we do have meanings to words. We do follow those meanings to words, and sometimes words change because that's just what language is.
right, but there's nothing to back up it. It's not some scientific claim. It's
Uh,
like, for example,
Um,
do you agree that there's social behaviors, cultural things associated with certain animals?
that or what?
Like in China, the dog can. Not, let's not go that way. In certain countries, the dogs eat from the table. In other countries, the dogs eat from the ground on a bowl of dog food. Yeah, there's social things that differ by
Sure.
countries that are attributed to. Okay, great. So if I embody
Oh.
those things, right? I go eat from a bowl on the ground and I eat dog food as a human being. I am embodying stereotypically dog behaviors, right? So I could call myself a trans dog, right?
No.
And that would fit. Why not? I'm
No, because
embodying attributes that are dog-like instead of my natural
well,
species.
because dog is not a social category. Dog is just straight up a different animal.
I mean, that's because you say it is, right? I could say woman is
No,
not a
no,
social
I'm pretty.
category, it's
I
straight
mean,
up a different sex.
if
And
I
there you
if
go.
I look up the definition of dog, I'm pretty sure it's not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna get any examples
Yeah,
of a person
now it
saying they're.
is.
What do you mean
But if
nowadays?
we get enough people to agree that we're gonna make dog into a social category, and then we'll keep the canine, the more
What?
scientific sounding one, we'll make that the biological one. So
Well,
canine is biological and dog is social. There you go.
this just sounds kind of like you might be able to explain it better, Squid, if you've been listening.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
that's
well,
what you guys did with
I mean
man and male, right?
the main problem
No.
with the social statements that you're making is basically just like the qualities of like feminine and masculine are just not like stable. And you can say, well, the
Yeah.
actions of a dog are not stable. But there's still like stability to the concept of a dog, like
That's
irrespective
the
of that.
biological concept of a dog, not the
Yes.
social attributes.
I mean
Okay.
that's what we're saying.
There's
You
stability in
can't be a
male and
trans
female.
dog, right? Because it's an entirely different animal. That just doesn't make sense. It's a false equivalency to
Right,
man and
but
woman.
that's by the definition of dog that you're using, right? If we go back to the past, when people said man or male, they meant genetics for both of them.
Do you
But
know?
then movements happened and it changed that now you use man as social and male as biological
Do
words.
you?
I can
Do
do
you?
the same with dog and canine.
I mean, good luck with that. But do you know when? Do you know when that change was even done? When they officially separated them?
I mean, it's something that slowly happened, right? Like there was first a
No.
small group of people that believed in this separation, and then it spread, and it like slowly became more people that follow that within social movements. It's
Uh,
not like an explosion.
let me.
I mean, I don't think that matters.
Yeah, it doesn't
Like you can
matter.
look
First
at
of all,
dictionaries and then get like early
Right,
2000 dictionaries, and they
right.
did
I mean,
not
that's
use these
fine.
terms right now.
That's fine. I mean, I would probably even concede, like, I'm an American. I would almost guarantee that, like, the 1950s definition of woman does not include trans women. I would be willing to bet that if you ask anybody, it does not include it.
No, you
Which
don't even have to go that far back, man. You
right,
can go
but
to
but you
the
know, right,
2000s.
you know
but
what
it
I
doesn't
mean.
matter.
Yeah, basically my point is that
Okay,
it's like irrelevant because
Yeah.
for me again, I'm like hanging my hat purely on like the moral aspect of it, where it's like, what's the reason for changing this word to include this new group of people? Well, the reasons behind it is that it has like almost zero cost. Like I would say basically zero cost. It has immense benefits to them, and then it has benefits to me because it makes conversations with them easier and
oh, I
increases the number
understand
I can
your
be friends
opinion.
with.
You're just using like a utilitarian, like it's advantageous to use this because people won't beef with me, basically. I get that.
Yeah, and it
The
makes their
math
lives
Chrome
better.
is more
Hmm.
what it is. Like the thing is, I don't understand why. If you guys can grab the words man and male, a previous synonym, and
Mm.
split them into the biological and the social one. Why can't I grab canine and dog, which is now synonymous, and split them into a biological and social one,
I
just
mean,
like you did?
first of all, dog and canine are not synonymous. Dogs are
What's
a
the
type.
difference then?
Dog is a type of
Just
canine, but it doesn't matter. Again,
Yeah, wolves and stuff. Okay, fair.
dog's just that type of canine. Whereas a trans woman, type of woman, right? Um, but dog and canine are biological definitions. That's why, and that's one reason we do have a separate definition for gender and sex, like throughout the world now. Even if people don't necessarily want to believe it, it's like much more
Throughout
commonly
the world.
understood that they are separated, right? So gender is a psychosocial social construct, whereas male and female are the biological characteristics. Some we can change, such as phenotypical traits. So like breast reduction surgery or bottom surgery, or and obviously much simpler things. And then there's also genotypic traits, which could be chromosomes, but the chromosome like chromosome gene expression doesn't necessarily. It's not only like XX and XX for females and XY for males. It varies as well. There are, in fact, there was a woman who had XY chromosomes and gave birth to a child. So like,
Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is these definitions changed and a word went from biological to social, right? If the same would happen to
kind of.
dog, or another word, there was a completely new word invented for someone who's socially a dog, right? Would you take that seriously? Would you like believe in that? Or
So, well,
I mean,
I mean,
I mean,
if
you
they
know,
make a
my
decent,
position is
yeah,
just like
it's like
whatever
that's just
maximum-
weird.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
fine. I
weird.
don't care.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't care if it's
why
weird at
is
all.
that
Yeah,
different
yeah.
though? I don't get
Hold on,
that.
hold
Why
on,
is
hold
it
on.
any
I
different?
will. I have your answer.
Go
Do
for it.
not worry. I will not flip and flounder on this one because my moral calculus is very clear. It's basically just like whatever if you give me a situation where you're like, in order to maximize societal benefit, call this person a dog. Okay, I'll call him a dog. I don't really care. Like that's fine.
Yeah, but you don't actually seem to believe it. Like you're just calling them that because it's easier for you. But I don't
Right.
think you
No,
genuinely
I do
think they're
believe
wrong.
it. I do believe it because I'm changing I'm changing the category
Okay,
to
okay.
include a new category, right? Like the topic of dog or whatever, or woman in this case. I've just made either like a new, right? I just branched it off into like two new topic or categories. So there's cis women.
Right.
She would just say are like women born like within the sex that they identify as, and then you would just say trans women born not in the sex that they identify as.
100%.
And that'd
In
be
this
it.
case, you're quite literally
Hey,
just
Trish.
like allowing people to choose to be part of a word, and then they're just the ones that don't actually have the attributes of that word, but want to be
I,
called it, and we include that
mhm,
into the definition. That's
mhm.
like a linguistic shuffle, essentially. I
Okay.
can be a table by that same trick, right? A
Right. The
table
question
is
would just
either a table or someone who likes to be called a table. Well,
the
there we
question
go.
the question would be like, what's the harm to the person or to society? So someone's like, I'm a table, and they act like a table, which means they stand still and do nothing. This is probably just a mental illness because it's harmful to them, and so we should fix that. And so basically, like if somebody identified as a dog, and then like ate out of a food bowl and walked around naked and like caused havoc, we should not identify. We should just reject their identity and try to fix it. And not create this new category. But if you want to define the category of person being a dog as inherently maximizing utility, sure, I would just probably reject that. Like it just probably doesn't maximize utility. Like I'm just perfectly content with being like, yeah, like you fit this definition, because like changing the definition is like a morally good thing to do. Like this doesn't really bother me very much.
Okay, but Matt Krome, you for example, right? You
Mhm.
seem to actually believe like some metaphysical claim about this, right? So like,
Well, I mean, Squid
what's the difference
Squid said he
between
believes it
woman or
as well.
huh?
Squid says he believes in
Yeah, I
terms
do
of
believe
like human.
trans women are women, but
Yeah.
Well,
he's just
he believes in it in terms of he just redefines woman as the actual woman and the people who just want to be called the word, right? I can do the same with table. I can have a table and then a guy who
I
wants
mean,
to be called a table. And
is a table a
who's on
human?
well, if I redefine table to be table or anyone who wants to identify
I mean-
as a table, then yes, then you
I
can
mean,
have
you're
human table.
basically ultimately your argument just sounds like you're saying words have no meaning. So then, what does it matter? Like what? Where do we go from there? Words
I
don't
don't
have
think
meaning.
words have no meaning.
Well,
But
you
I'm
kind
not
of
the
think
one
they
who's
do.
adding those second like definitions, which are literally just a choice. I don't agree with that. I think
So
that's
you
like a
do you
meaningless
think
addition.
trans people choose to be trans?
Well, yeah, they choose to be called, but it's identifying. That's how you call it, right? They literally say out loud,
So
"I
so
and
identify
they
as this and this."
like
Yeah, they
they
could
like clearly
be
don't choose
silent
like
and not
yeah,
say that,
they don't choose
right?
it.
I mean being
So
trans is
they're
like a very
forced to
negative
speak.
experience
They're
from what
like
I
Yeah.
understand.
possessed. Their mouth is forcibly opened, and they speak without their own will. I identify as a woman with those words.
I mean
Like
it
they're
would be
clearly
like
making a conscious decision to say that and choose that category.
Okay, so
not
basically, sorry, just let me say this real quick.
yeah, go for
So
it.
basically, as I said before, these are born inherent traits within them. Once they realize what's going on, they'll probably realize that they're like, oh, I think I might be trans, right? At that moment, they didn't choose to be trans. They just
Okay,
realize
so
they are
you're not
trans.
just saying it's identifying, you are
It is
adding a requirement of those traits, I assume, right? Or can they not have any
I
of
mean,
those traits and
is it
still
not
be
a
a woman?
self-identification?
I mean, like,
I mean,
Regardless,
I'm
like,
asking you, yeah, like I don't
hold
agree
on.
with this whole concept at all. I'm asking you what you want those persons, those people to do to constitute as a woman, right? Is it just identification? Do they need
so
attributes, right?
so basically, so I mean, they themselves believe they are women, and as Squid said, it's like, where's the harm in denying that? But also,
Is that
hold on, I lost my
everything?
train of thought.
Just they
No,
believe they're women?
uh, I mean, it's technically, yeah. Functionally,
Unless
So
like
there's
yes.
people
unless
who believe
unless
that
they
they're
just choose
objects,
so that they're
right?
like
Some
lying or
people believe
something.
they're a
Yeah,
table, right? Those people exist.
that's a false
Why not turn
equivalency.
them?
Let's please not go back to that. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, what's the difference then? Like,
I've already
why?
explained the difference a couple times. I just don't think you
Oh yeah, you
accept
said
it.
one is at least the same species, but that's
So
like an
what?
arbitrary like divide where you
So
suddenly say,
no,
oh, not
because
one down.
because all right. For example, if you saw a male dog, would you call that dog a man?
Well, no, because a man is a
Is a
human
human,
male. Yeah,
right?
it's
Are
not.
trans people identifying as a man and woman and B
Repeat, man, woman, and bee, like a
and B
vast.
non-binary.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know how it would equate, especially to a table, which I don't think can be male or female. I mean, I guess you could like carve a little penis on it if you wanted to, but
Well, the definition of man is adult, human, and male, right? Traditionally. If you can say that
sure.
Male
non-males
and man
can
is
be
the
a
same
man,
thing.
why not say that kids can be a man
Ma-
instead of a boy as well? Or
ma-
that non-humans can be a man? Why can you change the male part but not the adult or the human part? I don't get that.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's how definitions are always made. Is because people create meaning to definitions. People add new definitions to words all the time. So I don't see why this is an issue.
But I'm asking you specifically why if a little boy would say an adult, you would say that's
No
false.
problem.
But if a male says they're a man or a
So
female says they're a man, you say yeah, true.
so a trans person. I mean, assuming they understand trans identity, like a male cannot switch to a female. Those are the sex categories, whereas man and woman are
Yeah.
the social categories. So you can be a woman that is male, right? So they're not necessarily just trying to change their the base of their genetic code. They'll do things to change the features that the phenotypic features, such as a woman might have larger breasts. A man typically will have like a maybe facial hair and shit. And I say typically specifically.
I understand that part, right? But that's the changed definition already, right? So you look older than me, right? I would assume that I witnessed the change of this word, so you must have too, right? Logically. So you were born at a point where the definition of man included male as a requirement. Then a movement happened and they got rid of that, right?
I mean, that
You
was
went along with that, I assume, right? Or were you initially
they separated the terms like 150 years ago, I think. Like,
No,
You know who?
definitely not.
again,
Well,
it doesn't matter if it was
Yeah,
10
You
years
like
ago or
10-year-old
150 years
Who
ago.
dictionary.
cares when they change the
But-
definition? It's totally
yeah.
If
irrelevant.
okay, my point is you witnessed the change and you went along with that change. My question
mean-
is why did you go along with this change? But if I give you a proposition, let's get rid of the age requirement. A 2-year-old can be an adult man now.
Because
Then you laugh and you
age
think,
is a
ridiculous.
age is a physical phenomenon that we can directly observe because of the circumnavigation of the Earth around the sun.
You're not getting the question. I'm asking why would you not go along with changing that and not making it a physical thing, but making it a social thing?
Again, I don't think. Yeah,
Bro, just say it's because it's not good. You shouldn't have a 2-year-old being an adult.
yeah,
Just say it.
that's just. First of all, that's just weird. Yeah, but
No,
like,
don't
So
even-
you're your thing also is contingent upon like utility. You also think the reason why we allow this change but not other changes is simply because it's good in your opinion, right?
I
It's a
mean,
moral claim.
I mean, I think that's I mean, I think that first of all, I think that's a fine social claim. That's what Squid was talking about. Like, I don't see an issue with that.
But
Like,
you also
I'm just saying that we do have evidence to show that trans people do in fact exist.
yeah,
Just
by your
because,
definition of woman,
just
well,
because, well,
trans
you
dogs
don't,
exist by
you,
my definition of dog, yeah.
so you say trans don't exist. Can you prove that?
By my
You
definition,
don't need to
that it's physically
prove
No,
impossible.
I want him to prove that they don't exist.
Well, my definition of woman includes female, right? So
Okay, but
by
maybe I don't
that
want just
logic,
your
a male
definition at this
cannot be a
point.
woman.
Just
What?
saying a female woman is the same as saying a woman. Like it's the same.
No, they're different. They're different.
That
I know
doesn't seem to align with your
Squid.
position, man.
No, I don't. I mean, he's fine.
Bro
You
just
can
switched up
say like
teams,
an
bro.
X, or you can say it's XX chromosomes, but then it's
Well, that also doesn't work,
yeah.
right? Give me a sec. Let me pull up my document.
So
and see.
what I'm asking is, do you think there's a factual reason why you don't like making age social, but you do like making gender a
I mean,
social thing?
we do a lot of social things. Adult is a social thing, so we already do it. I don't.
What, can a 2-year-old be an adult?
No, because we have cultural and societal norms that we tend to follow, right? So,
It would be puberty, right? A biological process that
I mean,
makes you an adult.
puberty is a scientific process. That's probably around the time when we'll call them like maybe an adolescent, and then they
Yeah.
become a teenager. Those are adolescent, teenager, adult. Those are a child, baby. Those are all social categories.
How is that social though? Isn't it based on like biological development, like
Well,
growth?
I'm just saying the word. Well, adolescent might be
Something
scientific
can
definition,
have
but yeah.
an,
I mean,
a
all words are
biological.
social in a way, I guess. But
Something can be
based
influenced
on
by biology in part, and then still
Yeah.
be societally defined. So like puberty
Yeah.
can make you go through things, and then make you develop new features that
You
were
said
like in the.
societally defined.
Hold on.
Everything
Hold
is
on.
Wait,
societally defined.
let's good talk. Let's good talk.
So something can be like being an adult is like somewhat predicated on puberty, but then you have people who like don't have puberty, but then they get to the age of 20, right, for like hormone imbalance, and they're still an adult. Like the point of
Are they?
adulthood is like is a demarcation
It's a legal
of
term.
like, or it's not even a legal term. It's like a demarcation that like you can participate in society in a certain way
Mhm.
because of like
Coffee.
like granted there
Going
are
on.
like biological factors, but to say those are like the end all be all of the whole discussion would just be like reductive.
It is a requirement, yeah. You need to be a certain stage of development to qualify as a baby and not an
a
adult.
certain age.
Actually,
Like
a
brain
lot of.
development.
I mean,
I'd be down to just say like brain development.
I mean,
basically.
it's
I
not
mean,
really age,
people-
right? If I cryo froze a baby, it's still a baby.
quick
even though
question
it's
for you,
1,000
Tim.
years old.
Quick question. Do you think a zygote is a baby? Because a lot of pro-lifers will claim a zygote
Yeah.
is a baby.
I mean, that just depends how you define baby, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's like a baby is like a social category. Like a newborn, I think scientifically is called like a neonate, right? But we don't call them neonates unless it's in like scientific documentation.
My point is, we can agree that to be a baby requires a certain biological stage of development, right? And beyond that, you can
Yeah, but it's
qualify.
but baby is still more or less a social category, so it depends because different people are going to have different points where they consider a human organism like a baby. Like I don't consider it a baby until like 23 weeks, but that's my
just
personal.
like differing definitions. Like, can we agree on, even if we have a disagreement on the definition, both of us can agree it requires a biological stage of development, right? And that an adult
for
person, 20-year-old, fully developed man cannot
for-
be a baby.
So I would just say that we can, so they can be determined based off different biological sections, but those are probably arbitrary because, as I said, depending on your culture, depending just who you are and your personal experiences, you might say a zygote, the single cell, the one cell that is formed after the gametes combine, is a baby, and like I don't call that a baby, but
I know differing definitions, but we can agree, even if we have differing definitions, that it is a biological thing and it does not extend beyond fucking 30 years old. We can agree on that, right?
I mean, sure. I mean, to be fair, we
Okay, so
call adults children all the time too. So metaphorically, right? So
I mean, even in
words are words.
relationships, we call our
Oh,
significant other baby.
that's also true. So yeah, yeah. Basically, it's like it doesn't matter. Words are flexible, right?
well, let's say you have these adult babies, right? These people who wear diapers at 30 years old.
Okay.
Would you call this an age identity where they align themselves with the social attributes stereotypically attributed to a certain age in your culture? Like to me,
So
that's the
maybe
same
not.
as transgenders, like completely.
So what? Okay, so you're saying like if someone's 30-year-old and they claim they're a baby, then
Yeah, they wear
okay.
diapers, they cry out loud, they live in a baby crib, right? They have the social attributes in Western cultures associated with the baby. Because in Africa and some tribes, that is different. The babies don't have a crib or how do you call this thing where you suckle on the plastic thing? They don't have
Well,
that shit, right?
you know,
So it's culturally dependent as well.
well, I actually do want to go into something real quick because, like, I do want to get back to it in a sec. But it's like there are also
Okay.
rituals in other cultures and societies that you're not an adult until you do some arbitrary ritual, right? Like for Judaism, they have the bar mitzvah, which at about 12, 13 years old, you have a big party, but without that party, you're still a child. So if you never have that party, you're still a child.
Right, but now you were
Culturally.
talking about differing definitions again, right?
Yeah.
Like
Okay. So
all
you're
different
talking about
definitions
should we
of
call them a baby? No, because I mean I wouldn't.
It yeah, it's role play. It's
Yeah.
not even
right,
about
but
identity. It's role playing.
Well,
it's
he's
literally
saying if it
saying
is what they
about trans
identify as, I
like
think.
this
I
is
think it's the category error.
how
Let's say
though
it's
like
not role play.
one socially aligns themselves with a baby, the other socially aligns themselves with a woman. They carry attributes of that thing and they willingly identify as that thing. What's the difference? I don't get like where the divide is, other than if you arbitrarily choose that there's a divided age but not at sex or a or
Okay.
speech,
It,
whatever.
because I mean simply because as I said, well, so age is specifically about age is technically not even a biological thing necessarily. It's just rotations around the sun, right? That's how we
Now
determine
you're
age.
just making like a statement again. I'm saying, let me just
Well, that's exactly
play
what
that
age
advocate, right?
is. That's
No,
how we
you're wrong.
determine
Age is
age.
social. There you go. I'm gonna play as if I agree with this for the sake of the argument. No, age is social, just like
Age is
gender. Now
social.
what?
Hold on.
And I gain a large crowd who all agree, just like the LGBTQ
Fingers
movement. I gained a
existed.
large adult baby movement, and we all agree
Actually,
together
you know
that
what?
age
You
is
know what?
social.
Let's go into something then. Let me ask you a couple questions. What is a necessary condition for being a woman?
So you need to be a female, human, and adult.
A female human adult.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then I would just say, well, a trans man could be an adult human female, right? And that's how we determine trans people. So like basically, I would just reject your definition,
Wait.
right?
How
Maybe I'm being
how
disingenuous. Someone can let me know, but
how can a male be a female?
oh, a male can't be a female. A man,
Well, that
they could
can
be a man. Sorry, sorry if I misspoke. They can be a trans man and be female.
Well,
I would
I have
disagree
a
because by
question. What's your
definition of man
criteria
includes the
for
middle.
being a female?
Also,
I just told you. Are you asking him? Or
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. If you want to finish, I apologize.
did you ask me or Matt Crow?
Yeah, I'm asking you. You said women are adult
Human and female.
females. What's your criteria for females?
That is the criteria.
is
Female, adult, and human.
that circular?
No,
What
what's
is a
your
female?
criteria for defining a female?
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's you have a certain chromosomes, right? And those chromosomes that cause like your reproductive system, your bone structure, your entire body, right? It's a biological category.
Okay, what are your what chromosomes are you talking about?
Women have XX chromosomes.
That's not true. I mean, most do, but not all of them do.
I mean, you say that's not true by your
All
definition
right,
of
hold
woman.
on. No, like no, I'm actually just straight up saying it's not true. Like I can, if you want, I can give you the sources. I have a handful.
Okay, but those sources then need to disagree with the definition I gave you.
Give me a
Because
sec.
if the definition of woman is literally XX chromosomes, then
It's not.
that's necessary. Right, now you're just disagreeing with the definition you asked me to give.
Oh yeah, I have a different. Give me one sec.
Like that's okay, I
Oh,
guess.
the
but
Discord isn't on stream anymore. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Oh, I know why. Because I
you're
minimized. There we
showing
go.
YouTube.
Sorry about that. But would you like me to send you a list of females that do not have XX chromosomes?
Well, I would just disagree that they're females then.
Oh well, I actually have scientific studies backing this up. So, do you want those?
You have like this issue where you don't understand like the difference between
Is it me that?
metaphysical claims, like scientific claims, and definitional claims. Like I could say that I define a horse like a cow, and this is the new definition for horse is what previously was a cow. You can't then give me a scientific study that shows that I'm wrong because it's a definition.
Well, I'm just
It's
saying that your
basically just a
definition would
definition.
probably not be accepted. Like, why?
Sure.
Basically, why should we use your definition over mine?
Well,
For
this
example.
is essentially how most of the world defines that word. It's the vast
Mode.
majority of people.
That so that's an appeal to what normality or something. So that doesn't.
We're trying to find criteria that applies to
Yeah.
all women.
Mhm.
Or
or
sorry,
to
all females.
Yeah. If you say something's necessary, then it's necessary, and if there's an exception, then it's obviously not necessary.
Like you could then like further go into it and say, what is the criterion of having X chromosomes? Well, having two X chromosomes. What's the
All right, but will you admit that having two XX chromosomes doesn't necessarily make you a female? Will you concede on that?
definition? Like you have intersex,
What?
I guess, but
Yeah, intersex is a thing. Yeah,
are you
100%.
talking about that? Yeah. Well, that's like the story of like how many planks can you remove from the boat until it's not the same boat anymore, right? Like you can say the same about species. We have people with deformities. How many extra
Yeah.
chromosomes and deformities do you need to have until you're not human anymore, and until you're a new
It
human
almost
species?
it almost sounds like you're claiming that people with unusual chromosomes are not humans. That's like I
That's
know
the
that's not
question.
what you're
How
actually
many
questioning.
how
Wait,
many
are you
how
agree-
many genetic mutations do you need to have until you're a new species, right?
What?
Okay, you're it's like you're offended, right? I'll give another
Not
example.
really.
How many extra like how many genes in a dog can I change until it's a cat, right? You have a range from cat to dog, and you have little steps in between. When does it transition, right? With changing out the genes in a lab or some shit.
I mean,
That's the
technically, it's
question.
when they can no longer produce viable offspring. That's when it
Yeah.
would be a new
Oh,
species.
there you go.
So a castrated dog is not a dog anymore?
No, it would just be a castrated dog. Well, you're asking. No, you're asking what would be a new species. That's why that's why like mules aren't actually considered a species because it's like a donkey plus a horse. You get a mule and they can't breed,
a
so they're not
hybrid.
even considered a species.
Right, so if a human being has so many mutations that he requires someone else with those same exact mutations to reproduce, then it's not a human being by your standards, I guess.
That would be correct.
Okay, well, that's a definition you can have, I guess, but I don't think most people would say, you're not a human anymore because you have too many birth defects. I don't think
I mean,
most people would say.
the question's not like that doesn't stop me from maybe giving them like moral consideration. It's just like a category. Right? If I just don't care, like language is just a whatever. So I'll just be like, yeah, you are like categorically not a human anymore. Correct.
Okay, but the point is, right, that you have this gradual line of like abnormalities you can have, and intersex is one of them, right? You have people who have like 7 fingers, right? That doesn't mean
Okay.
that now the human species has 7 fingers or 1 finger or 2 fingers, a magical
Okay.
spectrum of fingers. That's just like a defect
So
within
doesn't matter
genetics.
is what I would ask.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter within biology.
So what are the so going back to what we were talking about, what are the necessary conditions of being a female, and do you concede that you do not require XX chromosomes to be female?
No, that's only if you have a different definition than me, I guess. I would
No,
say
no,
that
that's just
literally
that's just
X is
biology.
what a woman is.
That's just biology. I have the receipts if you want to see them.
I mean, now you're appealing to like some American biology
Are you
association
kidding
that
me,
has a certain-
buddy?
Okay,
Crazy
alright.
work.
Buddy.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
This is a
Buddy.
consensus.
there's different. There's just different biologists that would
Buddy.
say no, they're not women, right? They would say, oh, they have XX chromosomes,
So
they
are
may appear
all right.
like
So your current claim is that because this research is American, it's not viable.
No, I'm saying that you're appealing
That's
to
exactly
a
what you're
certain
saying.
definition, right? And you're
No, I'm
trying to
not. I'm talking
universal
about
stuff.
female and male. The
Why
scientific
should we
definition.
appeal to your definition?
Yeah.
Like, what evidence do you have to claim that's what a female is?
Well, again, what do you mean evidence? It's a definition. I can say that the definition of a
I thought we were
We're
talking about
asking-
biology, though.
is green.
We're
The
talking about
definition of
biology.
wrong is green. No.
Remember,
Yeah, definitions in biology also don't have a proof to anything.
Are
It's
you
just
kidding me?
interpretation
What?
papers. Yeah, definitions of words. If I change the word giraffe to
If-
cow, and
if
every
you-
time I say
if
you're
you-
not getting
Oh,
it. You're
wow.
not getting it.
Dude,
When I
if-
change the definition, just listen. If I change the definition
want
of
to.
giraffe to cow, right? And now every time I refer to a giraffe, I say the word cow. That's not biologically wrong. I'm just changing the syllable. That's it. You're just,
No, because we have specific
Easy.
biological
Oh my
factors that determine what a cow is.
Right, but I swap out those factors for the
Then
word.
you're
I
just being
change the
contrarian
name.
and stupid. Like, I know that's not really an argument, obviously, so I apologize, but like, I don't, dude. So, animals are certain animals because at some point we gave them different words. Like, obviously, a cow is a cow in a different language. Like, I'm assuming you speak Dutch.
Uh-huh.
So, what's cow in Dutch?
Cool.
Cool. Oh, that's cute, actually. So like
my
again,
point
the
is,
whole
right?
thing, the whole thing is like you're just saying definitions don't matter. And it's like,
No,
well,
no, no.
in
No,
science,
that's not the point. The thing is, you have names, right? Syllables, and you attach requirements to those syllables. And then something that is that word is something that fits all of those requirements with a little check mark next to it, right? I can add as many requirements as I want, make the word whatever I want, and that doesn't need proof. What does need proof is, does this particular thing fit those attributes that we agreed upon? That's what needs proof, not which attributes go with which
And-
syllable.
and we're
That's
trying to,
just linguistic.
and then we're
and
trying to ask you
languages
what,
disagree.
we're trying to ask you what attributes make up a female, and you don't know.
I gave you an answer. You just
And I-
don't like the answer.
No, I'm literally telling you, physically,
like our answer
biologically.
either.
Yeah, I actually have the receipts to
Yeah.
back this shit up. Like you're just
I'm
denying
not
the
critiquing
evidence.
that either, right? I could say like I
Oh my
actually
God,
have to
dude.
critique the back up that gender isn't social, and then I'll give you a dictionary screenshot.
Go
of,
for
like,
it.
a 2000s
Gender is
dictionary.
100%
Look, it says
social.
here. I mean, again, that's the definition you're giving, right?
That's
That's
the
not like
definition. Oh my
some metaphysical claim or something. That's just a
Let me go.
definition. Like you're basically just redefining woman as feminine.
I mean,
And there's-
again, it
in
doesn't.
your definition, it seems to just have 2 requirements: 1, feminine, and 2, you like being called a woman. That just seems.
All right,
the 2
so
requirement.
then are there? So why should we accept your definition more than ours? Basically, is what we're trying to ask. Why should we care about what your
What is your
definitions are?
moral reasoning?
Also
Moral
that.
reasoning.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, your definition doesn't actually communicate any attributes, right? It's simply just they just want to be called this word.
Ah.
It doesn't actually
Oh,
say.
well, mine was
anything about-
different.
But yeah, whatever. I'm down to come back in.
I mean, with yours, like you keep going back and forward between
No, I don't.
feminine attributes and just purely self-identification.
I haven't.
I don't know which one it is.
No, I.
Do you believe in just pure self-identification is enough to be trans?
I mean, if that's how their social schema fits inside the brain, yeah. If they claim that, yeah, sure.
But
Like-
hold on. Stop. If
Yeah.
you have no understanding of somebody else's brain,
Yeah, of course,
I would assume.
yeah.
This is correct. Therefore, the way that this thought is going to act out in reality is that anyone who says they identify as trans, you will just assume that they are trans, correct?
Yep.
So anyone who identifies as trans, you will say is trans.
Yep.
Awesome.
Pretty much.
So the femininity of the person is irrelevant. All that matters is the identity.
Functionally, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the only requirement is simply a choice. Like, I like this word. That's it. I want to be called this word. So what's the utility in that? What are you communicating? Like, the whole point of words is to
Squ-
communicate certain attributes, right? When
Squid-
they call something a
Communicating
ball,
their
it's
identity.
saying, look, this is round. It's saying nothing about them other
Is-
than they
is-
choose to be
Is
called
an
a syllable.
identity not an attribute?
No, not really. Like, the identity you're giving has no
Really?
definition, right?
I mean,
other than
what if I say I'm like Krome is a happy person, right? Like that's just
who is Chrome?
the
I'm,
guy.
Mad Chrome. Oh, I
Um,
see him. Too. Okay.
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, what
that
if I just say
communicates
he's a
something
happy
about
person?
him, right? Like, happy means something. There's like fucking
Yeah.
little chemicals in your brain that
Ex-
make you feel happy.
Right. So there's little chemicals in the person's brain that make them feel like a woman.
Yep.
I mean, that would
Simple.
be called like that would mean that they see certain feminine attributes, right? But you just said that that's not a
I
requirement.
mean, maybe. I
Yeah,
don't.
they
like,
Unless you literally-
typically they might have feminine attributes, but not always.
Okay, so
I mean, it's just
what's
Yeah,
if
it
there's
doesn't-
if there's a masculine trans woman, yeah?
Okay.
What does calling them a woman communicate, other than that their brain likes the word woman, the
Well,
syllable woman?
Well, I think you're
Yeah,
misinterpreting.
you're simplifying what it is.
You're doing a
They're
reductio.
experiencing an emotional state that they believe is like the state of being a man.
It's a woman, right? According to you, it was a trans
it's
woman,
It's
but
female,
it's a
yeah.
masculine trans woman. So
A
what are
masculine
they
trans woman.
experiencing? Yeah, they're experiencing masculinity, right? They feel masculine. They
Okay.
don't feel
Yeah,
feminine.
and there's
okay,
a lot of
there-
there's a lot of females that are also masculine. So
Right. So when you call the trans woman who is masculine a woman, what does that communicate? It
An
doesn't
emotional
communicate
state.
they're feminine.
that
Their
they're a
emotional
woman.
state.
Yeah.
Well, when we say masculine and feminine, that's gender expression, not gender
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
And what is
That's a
gender
good way.
itself then?
What?
What is gender itself then?
Let me
Gender expression?
No, what is it itself without the expression next to it?
let me
then?
pull up my little thing again. Actually, I pulled up what might be a better definition. It is the American Psychological Association's definition of gender: the socially constructed roles, behaviors, activities, and attributes that a given society considers appropriate for different genders. And
Yeah, so now you are disagreeing with the
How?
TH Coffee guy.
How?
Because he said that's gender expression, not gender. He said the masculinity and femininity
Oh.
is gender expression. So according to him, this
Yeah.
is not what gender is.
But
What?
whatever.
The guy just said that what you described right now is not gender, but gender expression. So he's
It's-
disagreeing.
I
with this.
think gender expression and gender.
Are the same thing, or
I don't know. I don't use gender expression.
I mean, gender
really.
expression is how you're expressing your internal
Yeah.
emotions.
Yeah,
so,
and
like,
it's-
your internal emotions are like, I feel
Yeah.
like a woman, so I'm going to.
Yeah.
But I feel like like you could be a masculine woman, so you could just say
Yeah.
like, I feel like a woman, but I wish to express my womanhood in this way.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So it happens to be
Yeah,
masculine.
yeah. Thank
Okay,
you.
but
That's
the
when you
express-
say
So gender
when
is
you
the
say
internal
you
part.
feel
The
like a
expression is
woman-
the external.
yeah. There you go.
when you say you feel like a woman, that's just observing that external shit, right?
No.
That's
It's
internal.
What is
Internal.
it then?
That is
What's
internal.
internal then? Like,
The brain. I mean, your mind.
Like
okay,
happiness.
but you can't like
Yeah.
look into your brain yourself with a magnifying
How you
glass and, like,
perceive
say,
yourself.
Yeah. How do you perceive? Do you know what self-awareness is?
What are you self-aware of? What attributes?
I mean,
It's the same with saying like I'm happy or I'm angry. Like you're
Yeah.
just
it's like,
you're just
huh,
acknowledging an
I'm a
emotional
woman.
reality. If you wanted
Yeah.
to like divorce it intent like from the concept woman, it's like they have an extremely intense desire to like embody this thing, like
So
whatever it is.
that's what you mean with feeling like a woman, that you have a desire to embody a woman? That's what you're saying?
That basically what your internalized schema is. Yeah, you're like, huh, I think I might be a woman, basically.
Yeah.
And telling other people that would be the expression. It's like,
Right, but
guys, I think I
now
might
again,
actually be a woman.
what you're saying now is like a belief about yourself, right? This is not exclusive to women, right? You have a whole list of
What?
things that we
Are you
actually
are you
classify
just
as men.
are you
Ah.
just denying what they feel? Like, so let's say it's just a feeling. Are you just gonna deny what they feel?
Well, I'm kind of confused what you even mean with that feeling, because feeling like a woman would seem either to one of two things. You physically feel your genitals in your hand, or two, you feel
What the
certain
fuck?
stereotypical attributes, which would be like height or whatever, shyness or something like that.
I
And in
think
that case, I
Shyness.
don't see how that's an internal emotion. That's just behavior, right?
What?
so you're saying that they are identifying with behavior, but what we're
Yeah.
saying is like no, not necessarily. Like you
Yeah.
can have an
What
emotional
else is there
state
then?
that does not inherently relate to this like to like an
You know,
external like the totality of like an
oh,
external woman or something.
What then?
I have a question. I have a question for Tim, if that's okay.
Uh-huh.
Unless you want him to answer what you were just saying first.
I mean, he can answer it or not. I don't. I mean, like, frankly, I look. My reasoning for doing it is the best. That's why I've had the least to say. Okay,
Yeah.
because I have a moral. I have a moral reason. There's like my moral
Yeah.
reason is that like they identify as this thing, and it makes life better for basically everyone involved to refer to them as this thing. Even if like the definition is like maybe you don't like it or it's weird, it's like a more it is a definition that results in like a superior world. So I really don't like I just don't
Yeah.
care
Yeah.
It's basically
Um,
that you're like,
so,
oh well my definition is limited to
I've
this.
No, what is
but
there
I
I
do
other than
what?
what is there other than attributes to feel? When you say you feel like a woman, that sounds to me that you feel like you have certain attributes, like you're shy or you're small or you're weak
No,
or whatever.
it's I guess it's hard to explain because it's just who
we're
you
just
are,
not
right?
trans basically.
Yeah. So and this
Oh.
goes into my question, Tim, when did you choose to be a man?
Well, I never grew up with this social definition in mind. So when I said I'm a man, I simply just mean I have a penis. That's quite literally my upbringing, I guess. So I never chose whatever you're talking about. Neither did I
And
choose whatever.
neither did the trans people.
Well, they did. They chose to say to the outside world, I identify as blah 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 and blah blah
Have you
blah.
ever
There's a
told
certain
have you when I asked you what your pronouns were and you said he, you gave me your gender identity to the world or the limited world of the
well,
stream.
that's how you're using it. When I use he, I just mean I have a penis. That's quite literally just,
That's weird.
do you
It's
think?
like
That's the vast majority of the world is for
No,
then, I guess.
it's a that's so like if I
Do you
say
think
he
the Chinese and
if I say he
yeah.
goes to the store and like penis goes to store or something, the person with the
Well,
penis
no,
goes to
it's
the
not
store.
applying. Yes, that's what it means. It means a male. A male is going to the store. A person with male
No,
reproductive organs. Yeah.
that's so weird. No one
I
thinks
mean,
about that when they say he, right? I don't.
I do.
That so you just
I
think about
definitely do.
penises all the time when you're talking to
Well,
men, or
I don't envision it, but I think of a biological male. Just like how, like when I say the word female to you, are you thinking right now about a vagina stretch out above the point of view, or are you just thinking about the female sex?
I have no idea what you came back to, Fleeg.
yeah.
Okay, I
Like
say this
so
word,
we're
yeah?
so if I say
Okay,
she, if I say she, I'm not gonna think oh vagina, right?
Okay, wait. Let me say this. Female. What are you thinking of after this word?
Um, I mean, there's a lot of. kind of weird qualifiers for female. I probably don't even understand all of them myself.
Yes.
But basically,
What image do you have? What image?
a female is
Like a woman.
the sex that typically the sex that typically produces large gametes.
That's a definition. I mean, when
Yeah.
I say female, what image comes to your mind? Like, what do you see in your
I mean,
imagination?
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what comes
Okay,
to mind,
whatever
right?
you're seeing in your imagination when I can't keep saying female, that's what I see in my imagination when I say she.
That is an unfortunate way to live.
I mean, that's the vast majority of the world. Like,
No,
do you think
no, it's not.
Do you think Africans,
So
Middle Eastern
okay, so
people,
like
Chinese, do
so
you think
male
all-
and female people are gonna probably think of sex characteristics, but you're conflating it with saying he as in male. You're conflating that they're synonymous. So, but I'm not gonna say male goes to store, right? I'm gonna refer to you by your pronouns, the ones you've given to me out of respect, at least. And so it'd be weird if someone
understand
was
that
like,
most languages don't even have that distinction, right? Male or man. In Dutch, for example, it's man. There you go. That's it. No difference. Male or man are literally no differentiation. There is no two words. That's most languages on the world, right?
I'm not sure actually.
Yeah, that it's a distinct English feature to have a word male and man. I know several languages, and German doesn't have that. French doesn't. Dutch doesn't. Spanish also doesn't. I'm pretty sure it's like, yeah, Arabic doesn't. Chinese doesn't.
I know.
It's an English.
I mean, there are also. I mean, there are other Englishes besides, or other languages besides English that I'm pretty sure differentiate. Like I believe Japan
Like
has
what?
something, but I would have to look into that. But what does it matter if the like? I mean, I'm sure languages still have.
You know why I'm telling you this,
Options.
right? It's
No.
to explain to you that most people around the world, in their native language and culture, when they say he or him or she or whatever, they don't think in their head about whatever the other
I'm
person
I'm
feels like in their head.
I'm
No, they think in
pretty
genitals,
sure.
right?
I'm
They think
pretty
it's
sure. Like all developed nations that have different languages have references to trans people. It's just English, I guess. In this case, I haven't looked into other languages. English in this case just made it more accessible. Then, and I would just
well,
ask
it's
maybe other
in my
languages should just make it
language.
more accessible, right?
Okay, when you say developed nations, right? I'm assuming you're talking about you Western nations, I guess, and you don't
Western,
think the others are
Eastern.
developed.
I mean, the world, developed nations across the world have trans people. So like, and
Okay,
they
so
have words for it.
I'll tell you about
Pretty
my
sure.
language, right? In my language, the word transgender is literally a loan word from English. It's
Okay.
transgender. You literally say the word in a Dutch accent.
And why does that matter?
Well, it's to show you that this isn't some like universal thing. Other languages are literally
That's
like
just
in
that's just an
Japanese,
appeal
they're
to
loaning from your language. They're
that's just
literally loaning from your
what
language
what
because
it,
you came up with it.
what is that fallacy? Appeal to population, something popularity. Appeal to popularity.
We're talking about popularity, like what most people say. So you can't say it's an appeal to popularity when the topic is popularity. Like that's
What?
not fallacious. Well, that's a topic, no? We're talking about what most people on Earth use language like.
Oh,
That's the
well, I mean,
topic.
then I would just say maybe they should use my version, and I've explained why they should use my version, I think, or at least I've given like examples why
Okay.
they should use my definitions, right? I'm just saying maybe my definition
Other
is
than-
actually more defining of
utility of it?
reality, I guess. Oh, shoot.
Really?
At least in my opinion. Yeah. Sure. I mean, why would I why else would I prescribe a definition?
You think using a word for whatever someone feels like in their brain has more utility than using a word for what they actually
Oh,
are in
no,
reality?
I'm talking about differentiating between sex and gender. Like, definition woman, a woman,
Right.
an adult human whose gender identity aligns with their schema on the female sex. Trans woman, adult human whose gender doesn't. Whose gender identity doesn't align with their schema on the female sex. I think those are
Right.
pretty solid definitions, right? I think those declare specific things. I think it's good that they would have specific meanings. I think it would be helpful to, I mean, we already use it in scientific research, more or less, though they use more specific, actually they get more specific in scientific research. But Yeah, no, I just think these definitions work pretty well, and I have research to more or
Because
less back them up. So yeah, maybe I'm just saying that the rest of the
now
world
you're
should just use
saying
my
back
fucking
them up again.
definition.
Now you're saying back them up again. So the definition even is something you can back up to begin with.
I mean, I
I
would
don't
say
get
I
it.
would say so. Yeah, I can back up
So
my own
okay,
definitions.
let me give an example. Giraffe. You say a giraffe is yellow and it's an animal, and I say no. Actually, giraffe is actually a synonym for chair. How are you gonna prove who's right? Other than
Um,
looking what the majority of people agree
I mean, I would
what
look up
giraffe is.
the. I would probably look up what the. I mean, so I'm not a biologist, so I'd probably look into it. But there's probably a genome specific to giraffes. I would look that up and be like, hey, this is what they say is a giraffe.
Oh, okay, and then I say no. Actually, that has nothing to
Well,
do
then
with
you're
that.
just
That's
refuting
wrong.
science. You're just refuting it just to
No,
refute
you're
it,
not
right?
getting the point. It's a word. If I want to use the syllable j and raf for a chair, then that's as valid as using any other syllable for any other
No,
concept.
because you doing that serves no purpose. My
Do you
definitions
think
are trying to serve a purpose upon clarity, utility, and, just
do
basically
you
helping the
think
world,
that the
right?
word giraffe, do you think if you have a DNA test that the word giraffe is like spelled out in chromosomes inside of the giraffe or
I
something?
don't know why this one. I
Like
don't
there's
know
no
why this
reason why
actually
you
matters.
call it
You're
giraffe
ju-
instead of any other word, right?
you're
So you
missing
can
what I'm saying. I think here. I'm saying if
no,
we have different words for giraffes in different languages, but we all understand that if we see the tall yellow thing with the brown spots on it, that it's probably a giraffe because it's biologically a giraffe. And that's why I say
okay.
gender. Gender is separate from sex because gender, your gender identity, or let me just pull up the definition of gender on the American Psychological Association website, who kind of one of the forefronts of this in the world. The socially
Right. Let me give
constructed
you a
roles,
link.
behaviors, activities, and stuff. So they have a specific definition with backing, with scientific backing, that they are using to describe something. And the reason they are doing so is to provide clarification, uniformity, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think most languages have a term for gender, right? And they
No,
probably,
no, absolutely.
I mean,
In
most.
most languages, they have one word, and it's like sex, and that's it. They have no gender, and the languages that do have a word for it, load it from English. Like we say, if you have this context,
Okay, so in German it's Geschlecht.
yeah, that means sex. If you type in sex or gender,
In
it just
French it's genre. Oh, that's
yeah, that
interesting.
means like category.
Category. Well, okay.
Yeah,
So then they
genre.
just have multiple definitions. What's the big deal?
No, no, no. In German, for example, it says Geschlecht, right? In Dutch, it's Geslacht, right? That just means sex. That's it.
Okay,
They're
and can
just
words
translating
have
the
multiple
thing that
definitions? Can words have multiple definitions?
well, these languages don't use multiple definitions.
They probably
When you
do. I
say
guarantee you that they do.
no, no, in Dutch, when you say Geslacht, it's sex. If you want to talk about this
Okay.
LGBTQ gender stuff, you literally loan from English and say gender. Literally, the English word with the Dutch
That's great.
accent.
So the Dutch have a language word for gender. That's great.
That's not a, that's literally just saying it in a different language,
And
right?
and
It's like
it's
saying
universally
that
accepted in your
English
language, is
is
it not?
English word.
You literally have
It's
gender
bullshit.
in your language. You just admitted that.
No,
It doesn't matter where it comes from. You have something to represent the word gender in your language.
well, in that case, if you're using that logic, then every language shares every word because you can use any word from any other language as a word if you
Well, I
want.
mean, as language
Well,
evolves, yeah, words typically just denote new meanings and stuff. And then there's also what are they called? Conjugates, which are obviously is a conjugate or it's the words that sound the same in different languages, basically. No, it's not conjugate. It's a conjugate.
my
I
point
can't
is,
remember.
it's not a Dutch word. It's not like
I don't
a
care
root
if it's a
word
Dutch word.
integrated, right? It's not like about the origin. It's quite literally seen as
It doesn't
speaking.
matter what the origin is in
Okay,
this.
let me explain it. Let me explain it.
It
When
doesn't
you say
matter.
this word, when you say this word, people see it as stopping speaking Dutch, swapping to English, and swapping back. It's like gay. You
And
say gay.
Do you know the meaning behind it? Do you know the meaning behind it? Does everyone that mentions it, even if they know it's English, does everyone know the meaning behind it? Because that's what a
Well,
word
that's just
is.
because you speak English and no TikTok videos with gays on TikTok. That's why. It's not because it's a part of culture or a part of our language. It's because we speak your language. That's why we know the meaning.
I don't think you're getting it, man. Like, it doesn't matter where that word comes from. Now you're using it. Now the Dutch use it. Now the Dutch know what it means, right? They probably have a definition of gender or whatever, however you guys spell it
No,
in
that's just
Dutch.
because we speak your language. Like I can learn Chinese and then I know the definitions of Chinese words. That doesn't mean that my language has those words.
All right,
It's
then
just we
translate
speak
it.
language.
If you translate it, then
You
we
can't
have a.
translate it because it's not in our language. It's in your language. The only way we can say it is by
Guys,
speaking your language.
guys, do we even continue this at this point?
By the way, a guy in chat said it is
What?
morally good to refer to them as their
What'd
preferred
you say,
gender.
Squid?
Oh no,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, I'm just talking to people in chat now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's like I don't know, like I
Yeah,
feel like
there's the social side I'm just talking about.
I mean, yeah, there's a social side which is fine, but I just feel like
Yeah.
it's the like I said, for me the question is
Or
just
moral.
like is it
Yeah.
morally good to refer to them as this? Yes. I don't think
Why
Tim's
though?
really given any reason why it's like immoral to. Like there's just been arguing over definitions, and even if I
Yeah.
concede my definition is bad, that doesn't mean I suddenly agree with Tim. That just means I go and work on my definition
Yeah.
to make it clearer, because it's still the morally good thing is to refer to them as whatever. So
I mean, there's a difference with saying it's morally good and actually believing so. Like, you could say it's morally good to go up to someone who you think looks ugly as fuck and to say you're beautiful because it makes them happy. So it's morally good. But that doesn't actually mean that in the depth of my mind, I actually think they're good looking. I still think they're ugly. But right, but I'm just saying it for the sake of it. If Squid is doing that with the transgenders too, then I guess that I can't say anything about that. But he seems to actually believe in it. He's actually changing the definition in his head to align with it.
yeah, I am.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with that?
Well, that would be like me changing the definition of beautiful to align with ugly people so they're happy. Then that
I mean, why? Okay, question. Why would you change it?
well, because it makes them happy and it's morally good to make them happy and call them
Well, that's
beautiful
not
even though they're
reality.
not
So
beautiful.
why would you change it?
You're debunking your own point, right?
No.
Everything that you're saying right now aligns with the transgenders. It's the same thing.
What? No, it's really not. So
Well,
you're
reality
saying
is
stop.
definition.
You're saying that we can change words arbitrarily.
Yeah.
Technically, yes, we can.
Okay.
However, right?
Uh-huh.
However, people typically have to have something backing up their change to these words to make them more acceptable, to make them understandable, to clarify things. We add definitions to words all the time, like the fucking word "woot" that was used fucking back in like the mid 2000s is in the fucking dictionary now. So like so basically there's no reason, like there is probably a reason that it was added, is because it has cultural significance. Woman and man, culturally significant and malleable. So if I'm saying I have these definitions and I'm saying why I have these definitions, it's to clarify things. It's to make people understand. It's to help, right? It's to help you understand as
Well, that's
well.
not what you've been saying the entire time, because that it doesn't make me understand. It's actually very confusing. Your argument before was that it's to appease
Is it
them
confusing,
because
or
they
do you
want-
just deny it?
Yeah, it's confusing.
Then I don't know what I can do to help you at this point.
But that's not the point, right? Before you were saying, and Squid was saying as well, that the reason you were going along with this is because it's socially significant that these people enjoy being called this word.
I think it's also just straight up true. And you just want to reject every
definition. How can a definition be true or false?
So,
Tim, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If it was the case that you accepted trans people as being trans, and the result of that caused, because there's statistics showing how much self-harm trans people do to themselves based on the society they live in, if it was the case that accepting them would reduce suicide rate and self-harm rate, what would you say to that?
I mean, I would say that this is the same thing as you have people, right, who say that they're animals, and right
No,
now
no, no,
they
no.
want.
Let's stay
No,
on
no,
topic.
stay
Let's
on
stay on
topic.
topic.
Yeah.
Let me finish my point.
Yes or no?
Answer him.
Do you think if you talked about utility, and if self-harm relates to this, would you say that for utilitarian purposes that we should reduce harm? Would you accept them as trans?
Would I? No.
No,
Let
you
me
wouldn't.
explain why, for example, right?
So
You
the
have
self-harm doesn't
people.
matter.
Well, can I speak? You
Well,
have
no,
people.
I'm
You
talking
have
about the
people,
moral
right?
aspect of this.
Yeah.
And if you're talking
Okay,
about
do you
utility,
actually make you understand the point, or are you just gonna like have this questionnaire?
I mean,
like,
you're not understanding
you
my
just-
point. You literally just
I am.
deflected.
I didn't say anything yet. You just asked me a question and you keep interrupting my explanation.
Because you're not staying
It's
on
just yes
topic.
or no. We don't. There's no need
Yeah.
to like add to it.
Okay, no.
Well, that's kind of fucked up.
No. A little
Okay.
bit, yeah.
There's people right now in an insanity asylum that we put there because they say that they're a dog and they're also harming themselves. They're in a fucking straitjacket trying
And
to
guess
bash
what?
their head
Guess
against
what?
the wall because they're batshit insane. I could prevent
Do
them
you
from doing
think-
that by calling them a dog and role playing. I don't want to.
And do
Are
you
you
think
saying
we
that
shouldn't
trans people
help
are
them?
mentally insane?
Also, yeah,
I mean,
he's
I would say that they're delusional, yeah.
Jesus.
Do you think they
Christ.
should belong in insane asylums? Is that? I mean, that's what it's
The
kind of.
point is
If you're
we should
conflating
treat them equally.
mental
Either-
patients.
The point is we should treat them equally. Either they're all outside and all not in an insane asylum, or they're all in the insane asylum.
Jesus
There should
Christ, bro.
Yeah, I don't know.
You've
I'm
lost
done.
the nuance. Yeah, I'm done here.
I'm done.
Get out. Get out.
That was crazy. That was
Bruh.
fucking bonkers, dude. It was such a straightforward question.
Yeah, I really.
and
Yeah,
failed.
I honestly, I wish you just came in with that. Like, I didn't even think about it. But that's why I'm practicing this, right? I didn't expect to get on a dumb definition.
It was
Yeah.
appears to me.
Actually, I expected it, but him
Sure,
saying that
but it went way deeper than
brought
it
up
needed to.
utility, and I don't know. I don't know. He just ignored that utility. He's like, meh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
well, that's
should-
why. Yeah. That's
What do you mean?
I
Why
was
should
like,
there be a double standard? You're conflating the two. You're conflating that trans people are the same as someone that thinks they're a
Okay.
dog and they're running around barking. So no, I think you just have a problem differentiating things. Yee.
The debate
Anyway,
is
yeah,
over.
I know. I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
done. That was my closing statement. We'll say.
Okay.
But anyway, so if anyone else would like to come up and debate any of the topics that are on the board, feel free. The call line's pretty much always open. Just go to the Discord link. At least we know it works now. Thank
Okay,
you.
do you want me?
Yeah.
Just want me to silence him for a little bit?
Dog, there's a difference
Eh.
between psychiatric disorders. I just, oh my god,
Yeah.
that was
Well, or it's just
bonkers.
No,
the other thing would be like, how do you the question is like, how do you reduce harm? The way you reduce harm with a trans person is not locking them in a room. The way you reduce
Yeah.
harm is you just refer to them by their preferred pronouns.
Yeah. It's
Then
that simple.
done.
It's that simple. Let
And it's a
them live
societal
their
thing with trans
life.
people, not
Oh.
like a
Nope,
born
come back
with
up. Come back up.
whatever. Oh my god, that pissed me off.
Maybe psychiatrist. They don't officially. They don't. APA says they don't. So
Yeah,
you're
no,
just,
that's
you're just
objectively
wrong.
wrong.
Yeah, you're just wrong. So anyway, if he keeps going about this, then maybe we can mute him. I mean, I'll appreciate your view if you want to stay, Tim. And
Yeah,
and I
you
will
can
say
stay,
thank you for coming up and having the discussion.
Yeah, thank you for coming
But-
up. It was
But I think it's a
it
lost
was
cause.
words. There
It
was
was
words.
We don't want to stay on the topic forever.
Yeah. Also that.
All right.
Anyway, so yeah, if anyone else in the chat would like to come up and have a discussion with us, feel free. Though I am gonna go feed the cats. And
Go feed them bad
yeah,
boys.
I will be right back. Let me
Play the
mute myself.
start the Jubilee video. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Oh, he's gonna disappear. It's me and you, coffee. What's up?
Not much. I just drank some coffee. I know that's
Nice.
crazy, right?
I know. What the fuck,
Yeah.
bro?
Yeah, what the
That's
fuck, bro?
that's fucked up.
Yeah, day off today, so I'm just chilling.
Oh, nice.
I'm actually glad that we started the stream. I had nothing to do, so.
Yeah, I've just been chilling. I have I'm supposed to get a phone call for telling me when to do an interview.
Oh
I'm
shit!
not.
Oh, was that
Yeah,
the thing you were talking about?
yeah. Well, I had 2 interviews yesterday,
Mhm.
and they both went well. I mean, one I knew I was gonna do fine in because I had literally worked there before, and I was like a top salesperson, so it was not a big deal.
Fuck yeah.
And then the other one I want more because it pays more and it's like a nicer store.
Mhm.
And I would get sick benefits. I would get like a shitload of free cologne and then like 30% off their whole store and then like commission on top of everything. So it'd be fire.
Oh, that sounds. Oh my god, cologne's so fucking expensive,
I know, and it's like
especially good cologne.
it's a good cologne. Do you know Le Labo?
No.
It's like a super high quality, like everything's handcrafted, like no oils kind of cologne
Mhm.
brand. Like everything that they make, you can literally like look up their stores and then you'll see some dudes like grinding shit in like a pestle, right?
I
I'd be like,
respect. I respect.
yeah. So it's supposed to be like one of the like top quality cologne brands. Uh and yeah, so hopefully if I can get that. I think they might I got because I applied to multiple jobs for this place. Most of it's just like men's clothing, obviously. Well, I say obviously. I used to work men's clothing, so that's why. And then I just applied to like the cologne one because I was like, whatever, it pays more money and it's like men's stuff mostly, so I could probably do it. But then the email said it was for men's stuff, and then the interview said it was for the cologne. So I don't know. We'll see.
I
I
hope you
just
get it. Though
I
those
hope so too.
benefits sound amazing. I'll
It would
get
be
customers who come in with quote unquote cologne. Oh my god, it feels like they bathed in it and it just smells like chemicals, man.
yeah. Most people just
Oh,
buy like Bed Bath Beyond cologne or some shit, and
Dracar Noir.
it's just like awful. Just
Oh, it's
insulting the
horrible.
senses. Yeah.
I'm glad people
So
don't wear Axe anymore.
yeah. Well, now everyone's like, if somebody's wearing something, it's always like Dior Sauvage, and that's just like so played out and makes me want to die now.
Oh, fuck. What was you said Dior?
Dior Sauvage is the one that they all wear. I'm telling if you go and you smell it at like a local store, you will know
I
exactly what it is because everybody
I think
fucking
I've
wears
I
it.
think I've actually had that one before. Yes, I have.
Yeah, I have that one too. Like, because everybody
It,
got it.
oh yeah.
It smells like fine, but it's just
Yeah,
so.
it's good. Holy shit, 144. What the fuck?
Bro, I have a cologne that's $500. It's nothing.
Yeah, you're like, oh, it's pocket change.
Pocket change,
Pocket change
bro.
cologne. Oh my god. And then oh my god, dude, I found a $30 the same exact thing. Oh my god. I don't That's funny. Wait, it's from the
Fuck.
same website. What the fuck? Sus.
Yeah, it's probably just like
Oh.
a scam or something.
So it says type I don't even know how to say eau de toilette.
Eau
Toilette?
de
I don't know.
toilette. From the
Yeah, toilette.
toilet.
And and then there's the difference is parfume
So
spray.
there's 3. There's eau de toilette, eau de parfum, and then there's parfum. And those are usually like the 3. So most people get like eau de parfum because it's like the middle ground.
Mhm. Okay. And so do they each have different expense levels?
Yeah, usually eau de toilette is
Mm.
just like a more watered down version of
Okay.
cologne. But the other thing is like different notes get brought out based on like how strong something is. So like Dior Sauvage actually has something even stronger than parfum called like elixir, and
Ooh.
that brings out a lot more of like the like spices. I would say it smells like way more natural. Like Sauvage just like I don't know, for me it just smells like so strong that I can't get any natural stuff. It smells like
Yep, no,
way
yep.
more like wood. Like woody's not even the right word. It's just like it's like you just bought spices from the store, more of a smell kind of a thing. That's like the best way I could describe it. Oh, we need to be quenched.
I was muted. I'm back. Yeah, I was about to say make sure you do some quenching. I just got some
Yeah, I'm
water.
about to get some water right now.
Excellent,
Be right back.
excellent.
I should get water, but I'm drinking an energy drink.
It's good enough.
We were discussing colognes.
Yeah, I heard some of it.
Yeah, you all need to get colognes. Everybody should
You're
have
probably
cologne.
right.
Cologne's so
You're probably
fun.
right, to be honest. Yeah.
I mean, I have. If you want the most like basic ass cologne, just get like a Chanel. Ah shit, what's it called? Chanel cologne. Let's see, what's the Chanel? Blue de Chanel. That's what it is. That's the most like normal. It's like not. It's like kind. Well, okay. It's like $100. I don't know how. It's probably expensive.
That's
but,
a lot, yeah. But I mean, I'm sure it
Yeah.
lasts a while, right? Because
yeah, well, I mean, most people, unless you're like me and you're wearing cologne like every single day. I mean, even bro,
Right.
I wear cologne every single day, and none of my bottles have run out, and I've had them all for like over 3 years. So, like, one is about to go out, and even then, it's when I say about to, I mean like maybe by the end of the year.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this
Which-
is long.
Which I used. Goddamn, did I wear the hell out of that cologne though? That was like, because the problem was the cologne didn't last very long, so I'd spray like 6 spritzes on me, and I do it like multiple times a day because I was just like, I want to smell like this. This smells so fucking good.
Chrome, put up. Let's talk about cologne in our topics.
What's the best cologne?
You know,
Anyone
Squid, you should have like a fashion stream where you just like, yo, God is evil, let's go. Yep.
I've done like a review of like Fashion Week and stuff before, or like the Met
Nice.
Gala. It's been
Nice.
a while, but
I mean, hey, if you like, at some point we could just do a stream like that, just like a non-debate stream.
Oh yeah, that'd be
or
fun.
something.
Just
Yeah, we
shoot
could
the
always do
shit.
it.
I love
Yeah,
it.
hell yeah. I mean, that's basically what we've been doing most of the time anyway.
I mean, we watch videos and we get angry at them.
Exactly. Shooting the shit.
Yeah.
All right. So I actually just pulled up a video. It's 3 hours 48 minutes, but obviously we're not going to watch the whole thing. It's Andrew Wilson versus Nema.
Oh, Neyma's is
Oh,
Neyma the
Andrew
lady who
Wilson?
hangs out with
Yeah.
Destiny?
So
I think that is.
I've heard of Andrew Wilson.
Oh, bro, if it's who I think it is.
Yeah, the channel's, well, whatever, might be a different thing. It might not be.
Oh, never mind,
Andrew.
different lady.
Apparently she was on one of the Jubilee things. So Destiny also did a reaction to this video. If you want to react to a reaction.
I'm good. We don't need to go reaction right now.
Yeah,
There's
just
3 of us. That's too many.
meta. Yeah, for sure.
Unless
All right.
Destiny's doing it, I'll just be quiet the whole time and be like, he's pretty smart. Yeah, I agree with him.
Oh, I hate this guy so much. He's a horrible human being.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what I've
Oh.
heard. I heard Andrew Wilson's pretty bad. So
Oh, dude.
so let's
Okay.
let's feed our anger, I guess.
Based.
We'll just go down it.
4 hours. Jesus Christ.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so obviously we're not gonna watch the whole thing. I don't even know how much
Yeah.
longer I'm gonna be able to
Fuck.
stream, but any
Dog, we
reason
watched like 1 hour of like the debate, and it went
That
to
took,
like
like,
a
3
4-hour fucking
Or
stream.
yeah,
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 crazy
it's
hours.
It's
crazy.
an 8-hour stream. I'm not up for that.
Yeah, no, the same. No. All right, but here we go.
All right, let's do it.
Whatever.
Skip the intro.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Introduce our 2 guests.
Do
I'm
you want me
joined today
to
by-
skip opening statements?
Yeah, you can skip all that bullshit.
Force doctrine. Descriptive print. All right, hold on.
Just kind of want to understand more. I know you've talked a lot about the equal force objection in the past. You've said men have essentially a monopoly on force.
Correct.
If I'm correct. Okay, perfect. And
Do you want me to walk you through the argument?
No, I'm gonna elaborate. Thank you. And that rights exist through physical force, and that our legal system is based on physical force.
Actually, this is just for me. So obviously that was my first time debating the trans topic, and I know like I ended up going in kind of in circle. Well, I went in circles with that guy. So if you guys have anything, but did I like respond decently? Did I hate criticism, but I'm looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I feel like I mean, like Squid, like the only thing I really care about
Sure.
is like the moral aspect of it. I don't give a fuck about the definitions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's fine, we could talk about it, like cool, but I mean, he like literally
Just
uh
denied
ate
everything.
the bullet about like, oh, I don't really give a fuck about people.
The concept
Um,
of
so like that's where we ended because like I don't care really about the definitions. I just care about other human beings and their
sure.
yeah. So like I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would
It
be
was
my
just,
one recommendation.
It's
is,
just
like,
not going to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's fine to talk. Like, obviously, you're gonna have to, but I
Yeah.
unironically was like, I'm gonna go shopping now, and then I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah. That's fair.
too close
That's
because it was
fair.
just like we're gonna debate about scientific definitions and whatever, and blah blah blah, and then I'm like, okay, but what the moral reason to do this is like sound.
Honestly, good. Honestly, Squid's just really good at debating. so he's pretty much always like even if his like even if his like sources might be kind of limited, he's very good at the technicality of debate. He's also very sharp.
Thanks.
So
Appreciate it.
you're welcome.
He's
Go
a
fuck-
sharp dresser.
Sharp.
Oh shucks, fellas.
Oh shuck.
Yeah, I'm just wearing a coffee bean shirt.
What am I debating on? I mean, I will debate on any of those things. Pro-choice into the third trimester. That's like all me. That's like my most dangerous opinion, but.
Well, the reality is they might just kill themselves, Tim.
Oh,
So anyway, yeah.
I'd also be. I mean, if you want, you could put up like. We just need. I could do bring back Abrego Garcia because I know the like actual legal shit behind that one.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
then
do want to
actually,
talk about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
I don't know. I don't know anybody who. I just don't know anyone who actually was like, yeah, bro, fuck that guy. But
There's a lot I found out. There's so many.
and then I guess I would be in like Israel Palestine just because that's like controversial. And then obviously, if anyone ever came in and tried to say capitalism is not good, I would be extremely down to debate that because I'm a big fan of that shit. I love capitalism.
Do you want me to?
Yeah,
I mean,
throw
I
it
could
to the
put.
shut.
I don't know how much. Like, I definitely wouldn't like be able to help on it.
Yeah, no, I get if you don't want to throw it up there because you two would probably just sit there and be like, I don't know how much coffee knows, but there would just be a lot of like, yep,
Oh,
economics
what capitalism or?
versus like the other systems.
Oh, I don't know too much, but I would love to dive in on it because that yeah.
I mean, yeah, I
I'll
can
do some
always,
more research so that way we can tag team it.
yeah. Let me, I can give you. Okay, we can start.
Give
the
me
video.
whatever information you got, bro.
I have a. I gave this to Chrome, so this
Was
will
the
be a second.
Obsidian
Yeah,
economic
do
thing?
you have Obsidian coffee?
What's that?
Okay, it's like a really good note-taking software that's free. I would just go download that real quick because that's where all my notes are in.
Okay, bet. I mean, we don't have to do it now. We can do it later
Yeah,
if we
yeah.
want to just.
I
Get
mean,
into
I'll put it up there if people want to talk about it. Like,
Yeah,
I'd be
put it up.
interested to listen, even if there are like some things I don't agree with. I readily admit it's like, well, I'm not that knowledgeable about this subject, so I'm not gonna, you know.
Well, frankly, I need to learn more about it anyway, so I'm happy to have somebody come up and make me look like a fucking idiot. That's chill with me.
So we could put up the topic is capitalism
best system.
the best?
Say that.
A question
Yeah,
mark.
Yeah, capitalism is the best system because that's different from saying capitalism is like perfect or something.
Yeah.
Like my main contention is never that capitalism's above critique, but that the
Yeah.
alternatives are always worse.
All right, so
comparative, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
relative, yeah. So I would like to hear more about it. Let me.
Am I for real with the capitalism? Yes. I don't really see a reason to believe capitalism is like not the best. Even if you're like, oh well, here's all this suffering, etc. I'm like, I don't see how any of that is elite.
You know, just to save space, I'll get rid of the trans topic for now, just because we did it. We just did it. So, is capitalism the best? Question mark. Okay.
Oh yeah. I don't know if Fly. Do you want to come up or do you want to
Ooh,
maybe like get some more information that way?
more like a socialist.
It would be a nice back and forth. Whatever you want. Whatever you want.
We love you either way because you dolled up the whole Discord.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I hate Andrew Wilson so much. Ugh. Just looking at his face, dog.
Just looking at
oh
his
my
face.
god. And he's a presuppositionalist, which makes him even worse.
I will say, I do like his glasses, the cups.
Nah,
I do like.
nah,
those.
he's an L.
I have to. I like the cups. Okay, they're worth more to me than he is. So.
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
oh,
no,
then
the
yes,
actual
I
cups.
agree.
The little.
I thought you were
90s
talking about.
cups.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But as soon as he touches it,
As soon as he touches it, it's game over.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Fleeg, if you want to come in and discuss it with us, feel free. And anyone else for that matter, if anyone else wants to come in and have a discussion with us, first come, first serve. Yeah, I don't know, it's kind of late. Are you not in the U.S. or?
Oh, let's just get.
Lost Cherry. That sounds so fucking good. Oof.
What? What sounds good? What?
Oh no, it's just the cologne that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just send him.
You're like, what the fuck is he
gotcha.
talking about?
It's your turn. What?
No, it's the guy,
Tim.
the dude we were debating about. Yeah, Tim,
Yeah.
that's his name. He wants to debate God, and I'm like, let's not debate. Otherwise, I'll just go hide in the corner again.
Maybe on the weekend.
Sounds lit.
I probably won't be streaming on Saturday, maybe Sunday.
I don't even think God's real, but if he is
True.
real, then he's evil.
Definitely. Okay, yeah. All right, well,
That
yeah,
sounds-
definitely a different time for League. But I guess for now, we'll just react to this, and we'll determine whether or not we want to end the stream at some point.
Yeah,
All right.
let's go.
So I guess I kind of just want to hear you elaborate on that now, if you're welcome.
So you want my argument for the force doctrine?
Yep.
Okay,
let's hear it.
so what force doctrine is saying is very simple. That feminism, if you at least agree with my definition, and it seems broadly feminists do,
Yeah.
that it's a movement towards egalitarianism and equity and the removal of patriarchy. If you can't have an oppressed class without an oppressor class, at least not from the Marxist feminist view. In the case, if women are being oppressed, they're not being oppressed by wolves, they're being oppressed by men, right? So if that's the case, then my argument to them
Seffi,
is that
what's
whatever
up?
you
You missed the
believe
whole
this
debate.
oppression is, you will actually have to appeal to men in order to either relinquish whatever this oppression is, or concede to whatever it is that they want, because collectively women actually cannot overthrow any patriarchal systems. They rely on the force of men. And so if men, anytime they want to, decide to remove women's rights, there's actually not anything women can do about it, but the opposition is not true. The opposite is not true. Women cannot collectivize and take away men's rights.
Okay, so are you essentially saying that women do not deserve the right to fight for their own
That's
free
an
will or
ought
have
claim.
free will?
Yeah, that's an ought claim. I'm not making an ought claim. I'm trying to get us to the descriptor first. So
Okay.
instead of making a prescriptive statement, I'm starting with a descriptive statement. What is true, and then we can worry about what
You're
what
good,
should be
Seppi.
true after we can determine what is true.
Okay, but I'm trying to see, like, structurally, how does that work in the real world? Are you saying that women should not fight for their
No,
rights
I'm not.
because they...
Listen,
That's
let's back
okay,
up so
Seppi.
I can distinguish two things.
Okay.
Is ought, right? I'm not trying to bridge the is ought gap. I'm trying to start with a descriptive claim. So if the
So as someone who doesn't do formal debating, this is somewhat going over my head.
He's just
Yeah.
he's trying to get them to agree on definitions.
Yeah,
That's what we
yeah.
failed to do for like an hour.
True.
Later, Seffi. Hope you
descriptive
feel
claim
better.
is true, then we can
Yeah, I hope
move
you feel
through
better.
to the prescriptive side of it. But right now, you would either need to agree with me that descriptively I'm right or that descriptively I'm wrong.
I can't agree with you to say that descriptively you're right
Okay.
until you apply what you're saying in theory to the practice of modern day society. How does your equal force objection, how does this principle work in society? What are you saying in
Yeah,
terms
so
of
I'm
how
saying that
women and
because
men
that
coexist?
yeah, I think that because that is the case, that men deserve to have various privileges that they're not given in society,
Okay.
which they should be given in society.
So what are the privileges that
as?
you think that men should have that women should not have?
Well, primarily, I think that if you're going to look at an equalization, what I would do prescriptively would be to roll voting back. and that's for both sexes. I think that rolling voting back for both sexes is a good idea, and have some sort of perhaps like one house voting system or one marriage voting system, or people who have done some sort of collective service to the state for a voting system. I think that those things would all be very good systems for everybody. Now,
Back it up.
Oh,
Back
I
it
was
up,
about
buddy.
to say, look at the look at the picture that just came up. Anyway,
Very odd claim.
yeah,
Okay. I mean, I watched the Truth versus Alex Jones, and I
Yeah.
learned that like 20% of people think Columbine was fake, or that it's probably fake, and that convinced me that 1/5 of the population shouldn't be allowed to vote. So
I
you know
mean,
what?
I do kind of get it. Yeah, in a way, I get
but
it. But
his point is a weird sexist point of
Yeah,
being like, or like
yeah.
a weird patriarchal point of being like only married couples should be able to vote. But
yeah, what were you about to say, Coffee, or did you want to like watch it again and then you?
Oh
answer?
no, I mean Squid pretty much hit it.
Yeah,
to perhaps like one house voting system or one voting system. Hang on. I would apply that broadly to men, and I would apply that to women. I think that right now men get the shaft because men are required to do a lot of jobs that women are not, which keeps society going, and women are not doing those things. And because of that, I don't understand why it is that
there's a
women can
reason.
nullify their votes and
there is a
disenfranchise them.
reason.
And most importantly,
I'm assuming
votes
she's
to
gonna
send them
go
to
into
wars
it.
they don't have to go fight in.
So you would like to disenfranchise both the men and women's votes?
Most of them, yes. I
What
think would be a
would
better idea.
this achieve?
Well, it would be that it would achieve the same thing our founders basically wanted to achieve, which is that they thought that you would have to have a stake in the country in order to vote.
But if you live in the country and if you exist in the country and if you're being legislated by the laws that the country is making, don't you have a stake in
when
that?
the country
No,
was
not
founded, only
always.
landowning white men were allowed to vote. So he is like technically correct in that it was like the landed men who were literally invested in the country, as in they own land, were the only ones allowed to vote. You could just say the founders were wrong, and then you move
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
with your day.
Exactly.
Oop, make sure. Okay, there we go.
You don't?
In fact, many times you don't. Many times, many people actually get more back from the state than they put into the state. So that's at the expense of other people.
Who is that?
So there's lots of people who get a mass amount back from the government that they never pay to the government. This can happen through things like Social Security, disability, things like welfare, things like even earned income.
I don't even know if he realizes how like difficult it is to get disability and how little it can just pay.
I don't think he cares.
He might not. Yeah, he might not care. Coffee, do you know if he's like anti-welfare or?
Shit, he's anti a lot of shit. I would not be surprised if he was anti-welfare, or at least very, very, very limited. Maybe only for white men. They are the only ones because they're disenfranchised. That's how it feels.
I
like.
feel so oppressed.
Yeah, I'm so oppressed right now.
All right, but we'll. Did you want to add something to that, Squid, or?
Nope.
Nope. Just keep going.
Child credit that you may receive even though you don't actually pay anything into the system or very little into the system.
But it's a crime to lie on
is?
your taxes and commit. Isn't that tax fraud to claim
No.
a dependent?
No,
that
no, no.
you-
There's just
That is tax
no,
fraud.
no,
to
it's not
claim a
tax.
dependent
Listen, it's not
that you're
tax
not.
fraud.
Law guy.
Claiming a dependent when you don't have one is tax fraud. Yes. She's missing the forest for the trees, though. He's just talking about people who get welfare and they never get off of it, and so they just take more than they give.
Yeah.
I'm saying that
care
there's
of.
people who get more out of the system than they put into the system.
Okay, but they're still at stake because they still live here now.
Yeah,
Are their
well,
lives not at stake if we're
what is it?
legislating them?
But that wouldn't follow that because they live here, they deserve the right to vote, though.
Yes, no taxation without representation. That's the
Well, I
point
mean,
of
there are people who
representative
live here who
democracy is
can't
that everyone is
vote, so-
represented.
Then
in
how come the
democracy.
founding fathers didn't give everybody the right to vote from the beginning?
Right.
I mean, the
hetero
founding
women,
fathers
yeah,
also
yeah.
endorsed and owned slaves. Do
Yeah,
you
but
agree
that's-
with chattel
that's-
slavery?
Well, just let her finish. Go ahead.
I mean, the
Well, she
founding
just
fathers
asked-
also endorsed
Yeah,
and owned
just-
slaves.
Just let her
Okay,
finish.
but
Do you believe in chattel
yeah,
slavery?
so you do realize that they could do bad thing, right? I can agree that's bad thing, but that has nothing relationally to do with how they set up the system of government.
I mean, I thought this was going to be a debate. on feminism.
I mean, they literally slavery is the only like the only protected industry in the original Constitution. There was I forget which one of the articles in the Constitution, I think makes it where you have to return a slave
Yes.
because like the southern states were just so afraid. So it's like he's just like, to be fair, the amendments after the Civil War changed that. He got rid of it basically. But technically speaking, if he's only interested in what the founders wanted, the founders wrote a document that pretty like explicitly protects slavery as an institution.
Also, a lot of law enforcement in the early days was literally about, or literally
Retrieval of
talking
slaves.
about, returning
Yeah,
slaves,
that's
finding out,
that's how the police force was formed, from what I understand.
Yeah.
It was based out of that.
See, I think that's kind of wild because it sounds like you're disenfranchising men. So who do you think would be? Are you trying
I'm
to
not
go back?
I'm not.
You are.
The U.S. ain't a democracy
taking
where
away-
everyone is
disenfranchising
represented.
men. Calm down. I'll
But
explain.
if you're taking away the votes
This man
of a
just already
man
used calm down.
because he is not, I guess, landowning. Is that what what's the criteria
Well, I think
for
ultimately,
having a vote?
I think ultimately more men would be voting because they would have more stake.
So can I ask? Can every man go to prison?
Yeah.
Okay, if they commit a crime, they can go to prison.
Yeah.
Everyone can do that.
Yes.
Okay, and everyone is in this country has to abide by the laws of this country. Otherwise, they will go to prison. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so why wouldn't they be allowed to vote on the representatives that define those laws? If that is a stake. If you can go to prison for committing a crime that is created by the government, then you do have a stake legislatively in the laws that the government creates.
That still wouldn't follow that you would need to vote.
Yes, you would need to vote.
Why?
You want to vote for the representatives that create laws that are just and fair to you.
Yeah. Why? Like you could have.
Because you could go to prison. That's a huge stake.
Let me show. I'll show you. Right? Can kings put you in prison?
Yeah.
Can kings also pass just laws?
Sometimes, maybe.
Okay, so
maybe not.
if kings pass just laws, why do you need to vote?
Well, why did we fight an entire
answer the
revolution?
question before you ask another one. I just answered all of yours. If a king passes just laws, why would you need to vote?
Because a king can also pass unjust laws.
So can legislatures.
Sure, but if you have a stake in that and if you're able to represent for your legislator, you can vote a legislator out.
Yeah, but you can
can't
also
vote a king
rebel
out.
against kings. So like,
I feel like it's kind of a false equivalency.
It is 100% because there's a big fucking difference between voting every 2 years and like
In a
killing a bunch of
revolution.
people.
Yeah.
And authoritarianism.
Yeah, like it's yeah, whatever. I mean, she's also just not. Hopefully, she answers the question, but she's just not answering the question. But it's a good.
Gavin would love this.
Hmm?
I was just saying, the guy that we were watching last night, he would love this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Garvin would be a huge fan. He'd fucking love this guy. The problem is that whatever. We'll see how she responds. But a lot
Yeah.
of people just like don't actually know how to defend democracy, and this might be one of those moments where she.
Yeah, I
this lady
think so,
doesn't actually
too.
know.
Gotcha.
that's what I'm saying. Your position doesn't follow. It doesn't actually follow.
Well, I also think she might be Marxist, but I'm not sure.
Is she? No.
Cheerio.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think like when I saw the Destiny thing, it said something about Marxist. Because like at the bottom, I'm a feminist, leftist, anti-Trump.
I mean, Destiny would be marked as a leftist too, unless she self-identified as a leftist, in which case, fucking.
In which
rip.
it's his channel, so I don't know.
Yeah, no. Look, if I'm trying to clickbait right wingers, I'm gonna be like anti-Trump, woke leftist, feminazi, fucking try to debate this Sigma male. Right? I'd say some dumb shit like that.
True.
For you to say that because you can be imprisoned inside of a nation, that somehow gives you the right to vote.
Well, because
Hang
you
on.
have a stake. You're saying that.
Hang on. I'm
people
falsifying
don't
your
have a
claim.
stake
I'm
in-
falsifying your claim. If you claim kings can make just laws, right?
Yes.
Then I don't understand. Why would people need to vote when kings are making just laws?
Well, then why would we leave the monarchy of England? If kings can make just laws, why would we leave?
Well, in that case, you had a nation apart that had a rebellion against the king.
Yes,
That's what was
sure.
going on. But kings have been rebelled against historically under certain circumstances many times.
So you'd like to go back to feudalism? Like
No,
you
it's not
don't believe in
feudalism.
democracy? Well, yeah, that is
No,
the
it would be
feudalism is under a
it
monarchy.
would be called limited democracy.
That's not necessarily true, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just vote feudalism. Like, yeah, feudalism plus monarchy is like pretty common. But you could just like vote feudalism back in theory, or you could have like a it would just be really weird to have a democracy where the serfs are like, we like being serfs.
Yeah,
That'd be,
yeah,
like, very,
yeah.
that'd be very confusing. But I mean, like, think about fucking Greece. Technically, that was a democratic republic, but like 90% of the population were just serf farmers. So it's like it has like kind of existed.
Okay, I gotcha.
Which is exactly what we had here. Do you think we had feudalism because most people couldn't vote here?
We had limited democracy, and then there were like many uprisings against that limited democracy because everyone
No,
deserves
there
the
wasn't
right.
uprisings really against that. The only uprising that I'm aware of in American history against America was the Civil War.
The Civil War, the Civil Rights
But that
movement,
wasn't about
the first
voting.
feminist movement,
That
the
wasn't
second
about
feminist
voting.
movement, the Civil Rights movement,
No,
the
no,
voting
no,
rights
no,
movement.
no, no.
Suffrage?
It's just the
All of
Civil
those were
War
about-
wasn't about voting.
Well, I mean, it was about the owning of chattel slaves.
So not about voting then?
Which is also about human and civil rights.
But not about voting though.
But voting is a civil right.
I don't know. I'm not sure that I believe in
It's
this
about freedom and it's about
conceptual-
representation.
Yeah, yeah. So
the
let's
point is
so
representation.
let's back up. and-
That's what voting is.
Yeah, yeah.
Voting is representation and democracy.
I understand, but you haven't actually made the positive case for why people need to be able to vote.
People need to be able to vote because they have a stake in the legislation in this country. If you can be imprisoned at this country, if you can be robbed of your bodily autonomy by the legislators of this country, then you should be able to have a stake in what the laws that those legislators are making.
Well,
no?
let's see if this makes sense. Do you agree with me that individual voters don't actually have very much power at all?
Individual voters, no, but that's the point of a collective voting
Yeah,
body.
I'm with you. So
Yeah.
individuals already don't really have very much power just because they can vote, right?
Sure.
So isn't it the case actually that what you're advocating for is political tribalism? Because you don't have individual power as a voter, you actually have to tribalize with other voters in order to have any sort of collective power, right?
Well, you're taking away power from all the voters,
Well,
so it
can
wouldn't
you
even be
answer my
individuals.
question, please? Tribalism, the idea that you, as the individual, do not have power, right?
Yes.
You do have to collectivize with other people, right?
Okay, but how is
Hang on,
taking
Can
away
you
a
answer
vote?
yes or no?
No.
Yeah. Okay. No.
But
okay.
here's my question: how is taking away more people's votes disincentivizing political tribalism?
Yeah, it's
because now I have to band with someone. Because now I have to band with someone who has a vote. I don't even get a stake. So you're saying because people don't have enough power to vote, I'm going to take what little power they do have.
You're not
away.
answering my question, though.
It just doesn't make sense
Yeah, I
structurally.
know, but you got to answer my question.
It just doesn't sound like you believe in.
It sounds like you need to answer my question.
Giga Chad.
What?
So just reject the question. You don't even need to
Yeah, yeah.
answer. That's the secret. That's the secret technique. Is you can just say, "I don't accept the question," and then they'll be like, "Why?" It's like, well, because we're going down like a unnecessary area. Like this is just a waste of our time
Yeah.
or whatever.
It's a red
Or you-
herring.
So okay,
Yeah, or
yeah.
you would just say you accept that it's political. You would be like, yes, you need to form parties, right? You rephrase because he's trying to be like, that's tribalism, right? And you're like, I mean, we form parties based on ideas, correct? Yes,
Yeah.
this is true fact. And then you're just like, who cares?
Yeah.
No,
It sounds like your question is
Yeah,
meant to
can
trap
you,
me
can
because
you
your
just,
argument
Can you
is
just
riddled with
answer the
logical
question,
fallacies.
please?
It
What's fallacious about my argument?
You're saying that people do not have a stake in this country, therefore they do not have a right to vote.
It's not what I said.
Yes,
what
it
you're doing
is.
is a straw man fallacy.
Can we go back to
Yeah,
what
you
he
can
said?
go. You can go
Let's-
back.
can
What
we
I
go
said
back
to you
that?
specifically.
I just hate suits. Like, what makes me so upset is now I know one day I'm going to be wandering the plains of the internet and some dumbass is going to have watched this. And anytime I rephrase his argument in a way for me to understand it, he's going to be like, you're strawmanning me. Like, because people don't actually know what that means. So, very cool. Very, very nice. I can't wait for the internet to get worse every single day. It's going to be awesome.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Specifically is what you're saying doesn't logically follow. And when I'm talking about political tribalism, do you agree with me that you do, if you need to have collectives to have actual political power, are you not promoting political tribalism?
If you need to have but that's how voting works. It's about a majority.
So then you are
Yes.
promoting collective political tribalism, right?
So voting and then the will of the majority is essentially political tribalism, is what you're saying?
Well, it's not really the will of the majority.
It is the will
Here's
of
what
the
happens.
majority.
No, not really.
Do you understand how voting works?
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, well then tell me how it's the will of the majority when a California legislator gets elected.
Well, everyone who would like to vote can vote, and then whoever
What
gets
about
the most
what about the
votes
people in Georgia?
wins. Well, why would a person in Georgia get to vote on a
So it's not
legislator for a
really the
California state
collective; it's the
legislator?
tribe, right?
But then Georgians get to vote for their
Right,
state
so it's a
legislator.
tribe then?
And then all of those legislators.
Is he just trying to play semantics, or?
He's trying to, yeah, he's just trying to categorize it because right wingers are always being like, we're so tired of political tribalism. Like this
Yeah.
makes sense more to me because ex
Yeah.
right wing guy, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
like that was always what was being talked about. So this is like, dog whistle's the wrong word, but he's definitely like playing to the crowd of being like, see the left, they promote political tribalism. We're the guy, we'll have leftists on our podcast all the time. It's these fucking people, bro. I can't believe this.
So basically, he's like stretching the definition of tribal.
Yeah, or you
Yeah,
could just say like, who
tribalism.
cares? Like he's
Yeah.
the
You
basic
just
point
ask him
would-
why it's bad, I guess.
Yeah, you would be like tribalism, or you would just say some shit like we're a republic. So like, no, I don't believe that we should all like be like the people in Georgia should not be able to vote on the mayor of like San Jose in California because this has like
No bearing on that.
little.
Yeah.
It's not. You don't even say no impact. You're like such a like tiny impact as to not be relevant.
Yeah.
So fuck 'em.
Legislators come together
So it's a
to
tribe.
create laws.
So it's a tribe.
It's not a tribe, but those
Well,
are called states.
Yeah,
That's what
states are voting for their own interests, right?
But states will vote for the governors.
Yeah.
Why would I get to vote
Would-
for the
would-
governor?
Wait,
Hold on,
yeah,
pause.
hold on. Let her
Listen to
finish.
me. Why would I get to vote for the governor of, let's say, Tennessee, if I
Right.
don't live in Tennessee?
Makes sense.
Okay.
So it's almost
So
like
then why
these
would-
individual states, right? They vote along tribal lines for that state's particular interests, right?
Yes, and
They're
then
not.
each state.
This guy is so annoying already
Yeah.
to be.
I mean, it's whatever.
Well, I mean, the
She-
discussion's also kind of.
Yeah, the other problem is she just like is
Isn't rejecting
unwilling
it.
to just go down the train of thought, or like not even reject
yeah.
it. Just be like if it was me, I'd be like, you can call it tribal, but this carries like negative connotations that are like clearly not indicative. And then he'd be like, what are those negative connotations? And then you'd say some shit about like, well, tribalism implies like inherent conflict, but there's clearly no inherent conflict between like Georgia and California. That would be like an absurd claim to make.
Yeah.
Or like not
See-
not conflict in any meaningful way.
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
California's not going to invade Georgia.
Yeah. That'd be kind of funny, honestly. But
Yeah.
has a representative
Right,
in
which
the
they said-
collective government.
Sure. In the federal government, right? You're
Uh-huh.
talking about in our Senate and in our Congress, right?
Yes.
Great. So let's start with this. If it is the case that you
That
have
look.
California and Nevada, these are two states which are next to each other, you agree,
Sure.
right?
Yes.
Can these states vote against each other's interests when it
Of
comes
course
to
they can.
resources?
In the federal government, yes. they
No,
can.
even at the state level they can, right?
Why would they be able to at the state level? I can't vote for the Nevada governor. I can't vote for
Because perhaps there's something
Nevada
that perhaps Nevada has some type of, I don't know, assessed a tax or something like this that they're able to collect, which disproportionately affects Californians in some way. They can do that, right?
What law is that?
Whatever it would be, they
So
can do
does
it.
it exist or does it,
It-
not
it-
exist?
listen, can
I
they
mean, it's
do
a
that?
hypothetical.
Oh
What-
no, actually, they couldn't. That would be under the federal government because that would be
Oh,
interstate
because
commerce.
of interstate.
So that
Oh,
would go-
yeah. So it'd be
That would go against the commerce clause, so they
So-
actually can't do that.
So
Or-
this
or they
hypothetical.
could-
Oh, go ahead.
They could, but then California could just sue, and then if the federal government says like this is not in conjunction with the laws we wish to promote, then the federal government could end it.
So functionally, this is just not a great hypothetical. But I mean, it's a hypothetical.
No, it's not super good in the real world because
Yeah.
the federal government would be able to stop it if they wanted to. So like he's like correct in that like Georgia could pass a law with the intention of harming Californians, and even because he doesn't know the law, he would probably say like, well, what if it like, well, they can just pass a law that like regulates oranges and all the oranges. Let's just say all the oranges in Georgia come from California, and they just regulate oranges to like with the intent to harm California. Well, there's this thing called like strict scrutiny versus like reasonable basis test, and if a law doesn't on the face of it like discriminate against other states or whatever, you would need to apply a reasonable basis. So it'd be like, what's the reasonable, like, why did you make this law? So that like people have this idea that like a law when it's made, like all we do is look at the piece of paper as opposed to like the context by which the piece of paper was created. So like even in the event that it says like California doesn't mention California, you could still be like, yeah, but all the legislatures the entire time they're making this bill was like, fuck California, that place sucks, right? And then the bill would be cut off.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Can they do that is my question.
Can Nevada legislate against California?
No, they're not legislating against. Listen to my question. Actually, I want you to repeat my question so I know you actually heard it.
I'm sorry, I'm not a dog. I don't
Can you repeat it? Well, it's
No.
called steel manning a
Just
position.
say the question.
Okay. Can states vote against other states' interests simply by having a neighboring state, right? Let's just say, for instance, that you were to have, like, I don't know, trucks which went between Nevada and California, right?
Yes.
And California took advantage of this by raising taxes on gasoline, but only on the border areas where these goods came in. This disproportionately hurts Nevada truckers for some reason, right? They can do that, right?
Yes, they can do that.
Okay, great. So in California, if that was
They can try.
They can try. They can put in the effort. I mean, the Commerce Clause basically is how Congress justifies literally all of its power. Like the reason businesses can't be racist, this is true by the way, is because you see, minorities, they need to travel between states for business purposes. So if your business serves anyone who may or may not be traveling, you are now affecting interstate commerce, and we don't want to like force minorities into certain areas or like certain parts of the economy because this can fuck up interstate commerce. So you can't be racist anymore. Like that was how they passed.
They justified
the
it?
laws. Yeah, that was how
That's
they
kind of-
justified the laws. So it's like, yeah, he's right technically, but again, like it wouldn't surprise me if they would just say like no, because literally the state of Nevada in this case could sue the state of California and would probably win if they were like, this is just to target Nevada. Like, this is fucked.
beneficial to Californians, they would basically be voting for their tribe against Nevada, right?
But is that happening?
It
or
does
are you
happen.
just trying to use a hypothetical?
No, there's tons and tons of instances where different states do various things, even asking for federal money in overages compared to other states for different problems. Same thing with disaster support. They definitely.
I mean, but those are all federal, right?
Yeah, he's mistaking.
Yeah.
What he's doing is he's citing examples of when a state reaches out to the federal government as an example of like state governments competing, which they do compete.
Sure.
But to say that they compete in this like super direct way that he's implying they compete, probably not true. But I would need to see where he goes with it.
Are all trying to support their tribe, right?
Okay, so because states can potentially, hypothetically, vote against another state's interest, men and women should not have the right to
No,
vote.
that's not the conclusion.
But that was your argument.
No,
the
that's-
privilege is
no, we're-
you
again, do
stated
you know what a
no voting,
descriptor
both
is?
Sexes,
What's a
one marriage voting system.
Why don't you understand the difference between a descriptor and prescriptor? What did I prescribe?
What you prescribed is one voting system, is a voting
Yes.
system in which
What
both
I'm
men
doing-
and women are disenfranchised.
Yeah, what I'm doing right now is I'm giving you descriptors so we can determine if it's tribalism or not, because you said it's not tribalism to have collectivism in voting blocks, which is insane.
But what you haven't been able to answer is why disenfranchising more voters is somehow
Well, let me-
solving
Okay.
political
Hold on, just
tribalism.
let her get to the end
All
of the
right.
sentence, please.
Well,
Go
let me
ahead.
explain it
Sure.
the best way that I possibly can.
I
Your
hope you try.
worldview promotes political tribalism. So what happens is this:
All right.
NGOs
Have a good
can
night,
go to our
Flea.
government and
Sleep
they
well.
can bribe them for voting blocks.
That's so fucking stupid. Your worldview the concept of democracy promotes political tribalism. Okay.
Is this guy?
I mean, yeah.
What is Andrew Wilson's like political stance?
He's got to be like a monarchist or something.
Yeah.
Like, and everything else is like a smokescreen.
Yeah, like that.
Because even if he's
yeah.
like, maybe you want, like, maybe the like people who all work in the steel industry should like form kind of a steel industry tribe. Like,
Yeah.
he's
They do
he's
that on
trying
Reddit.
to- yeah, exactly. He's trying to like pretend. He's trying to like imply implicit.
It's
imply.
like, oh, it's all technically tribalism, therefore it's bad.
Yeah.
It's like
which is
that's
stupid.
not. It's taking the parts and not the whole.
Yeah, exactly.
Tribalism is literally everywhere in society. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, I don't think you can get out of it. So why?
Yeah, and you can just call it a culture or a society or
Yeah, well, his point, I assume, is that he's gonna try. He's like, well,
Yeah.
my ideal society would like reduce the tribalism, like maybe, but like at what cost? Like the destruction
Exactly.
of democracy? Like, are you fucking dumbass? Like, no.
yeah.
Blocks.
And then her
that's
point,
exactly
her
what they
point is
do.
good. No, I was gonna say her point is good that like everyone does have an investment in society, and so they should be
Yeah.
allowed to like speak on it. The problem is she's kind of like, I think she's just jumping the gun a little bit, but
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think it's linear enough. I think she needs to get a little bit more linear in the way she's giving her argument.
I would agree.
It's just hip hopping around.
I'm just listening to you guys.
Non-government organizations do this, and lobbyists do this. And what they do is they raid the treasury from people like you and me so that they can bribe certain portions of the electorate in order to incentivize them to collectivize.
So now it's conspiracy or
Yeah, now he's he's a neo-reactionary. He's like unironically.
yeah,
like
it's
the
like
Curtis
there has
Yarvin.
to be under Curtis Yarvin or
Yeah, there's like a influence that's making the lobbyists form coalitions and like, what are you like? Okay, sure.
Well, I don't think that's the same Andrew Wilson.
Sorry, that's a cool Andrew Wilson. Let's look up whatever podcast or something.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm curious to see what people on Reddit say. He takes some really controversial stances, like rights are just force, women. Oh, 1 sec.
You want waffles or toast?
What's up?
Waffles or toast?
Waffle.
Okay, 'cause we're having eggs. And
Okay. Sounds good.
It's ready.
All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna have dinner in a bit.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. Sin.
I like can't find him anywhere except for the whatever. Is he
Yeah.
just like a whatever podcast guy?
It might be his channel, but I'm not entirely sure.
Because there's another Andrew Wilson who is like a politician in Scotland.
That doesn't tell us shit. I don't know.
Doesn't he have a wiki page? Truly
no.
nobody.
Yeah, true. That's crazy. Oh, all right. Oh, yeah. I was gonna see if he like ever said he was something, and maybe he has in another video, but
The Crucible.
yeah, I saw that. It's the cathedral, but different.
Literally, bro.
All right. You want me to just continue the video for now?
Yeah. Continue the video.
That's why black people often vote as a monolith, for instance. They vote monolithically, up to 80, 90% together, especially in national elections, because they're made certain promises out of the treasury from the electorate, usually at the expense of other forms of voters. This is 100% tribalism.
So how are NGOs bribing politicians, influencing who black people as individuals choose to vote for?
How do NGOs do that?
I just don't understand how you're saying. I mean, I agree that NGOs should not be bribing and lobbyists shouldn't be bribing, but instead of
I mean, that's what
saying,
they do, though, right?
Okay, but we're trying to get back to your claim that
I'm in the
less
middle of
people
my
should
claim.
vote. Okay, well, I'm responding because this is a conversation.
Yeah.
Sure. So we're trying to get back to your claim that less people from both sexes should be able to vote.
Yeah, no, that's not where we just were.
But that's your initial claim,
Yeah, but now
yes?
you're just pivoting. Where we just were was.
Well, you're not letting me
you
finish my
said,
sentence. If
No,
you'd let me
because
finish my sentence, we
you're
could go
pivoting.
back.
We're talking right now about whether tribalism is descriptively true in your voting system.
I understand that, but we're trying to get back to your initial claim because you have
Yeah.
a very important claim to defend. You're trying to
I
take
am
votes away
defending
from
it.
the American people
Yeah.
poorly, but let's get
Oh,
into
okay.
it. So NGOs bribe, lobbyists bribe,
Yeah.
and that is impacting who and what politicians are promoting. I would agree with that statement. Would you agree with that statement?
Well, not just what they're promoting, but also they are setting the precedent for laws themselves.
Okay, yeah.
So
sure.
they actually, I would even argue back that NGOs and private think groups write the laws in which politicians most often execute, and so do bankers as well.
I agree with that. So why would taking away votes from the average American and singular citizen prevent NGOs and lobbyists from having an ability to impact and predict and create laws?
Yeah, so if you move to stakeholder democracy, this idea that you had to have some sort of public service or something like this, it actually collectivizes down the voting pool, which adds responsibility to the voters who can then be held accountable, which right now voters can't be. That's why. That's why it's so important. So you're not.
Voters
you're saying,
can be held accountable.
So you're saying how?
Well, legislators will create laws that hold those voters accountable. We're
How?
the ones who have to follow them. Do you not have to
How
follow
are they?
the
Well,
laws?
that's not you being held accountable.
It is
so,
being held accountable.
No. So right
The-
now, under tribalism, you can get laws passed
Tribalism.
which affect me, but benefit you. I can't go like hold you somehow accountable for that.
But that's how a majority voting works. That's how
I
democracy
know,
works.
which is why I want limited democracy where we can actually hold people
because
accountable.
you just want to be in charge.
How would I be in charge if it's stakeholder democracy?
Well, you said one marriage voting system.
That could be one way of doing it, yes.
Okay, what are the other ways of doing that?
Another good way would be public service.
So whoever
Perhaps
does
up
a
to
public service.
Perhaps up to 3 to 5 years unpaid, or
Are you-
military service would be good.
So during this public service
don't
in
like
which
that.
people are working 3 to 5 years unpaid, how are they paying for food and groceries and housing?
Yeah, so the state would take care of that, just like they do in the military.
The state would
So
take care of
stipend.
that like they do in the military.
So they're getting paid. Like, they're just straight up getting paid then. He's like, oh, it'd be unpaid public service. No, they're just getting paid. Anyone else? Anyone else there? Milo,
Sorry, I zoned out for a second.
you're good.
I don't know. I feel like his argument's like self-defeating because
Yeah, kind
in
of.
his system, is he saying that tribalism won't exist?
I don't even know, to be honest. He
But if that's
hasn't
his
really
whole
gotten
point,
to that.
He has to defend why his by him limiting voting is going to eliminate tribalism.
Right now, they're talking about whether or not. Actually, here, let me rewind it because this is kind of funny to me.
Because he's obsessed with tribalism.
Being held accountable.
It is
so,
being held accountable.
No. So right
The
now, under benefit.
majority voting works. That's how
I
democracy
know,
works.
which affect me, but tribalism, you can get. That's
one more.
not
There we
you
go.
being held accountable.
It is
so,
being held accountable.
No. So right
The-
now, under tribalism, you can get laws passed which affect me, but benefit you. I can't go like hold you somehow accountable for that.
But that's how a majority voting works. That's how
I
democracy
know,
works.
which is why I want limited democracy where we can actually hold people
because
accountable.
you just want to be in charge.
How would I be in charge if it's
True.
stakeholder democracy?
Well, you said one marriage voting system.
That could be one way of doing it, yes.
Okay, what are the other ways of doing that?
Another good way would be public service.
So whoever
Perhaps up
does
to
a public service.
Perhaps up to 3 to 5 years unpaid, or
Are you-
military service would be good.
So during this public service in which
Mm-hmm.
people are working 3 to 5 years unpaid, how are they paying for food and groceries and housing?
Yeah, so the state would take care of that, just like they do in the military.
Oh,
So they're
he
being
is
paid.
Welfare. He's okay with welfare
Yeah, he's okay with
in
welfare.
his system.
Should also be
this-
noted, I've learned his old username was Big Papa Fascist. So
Wait, are you
He's,
serious?
yeah.
That's
So,
great.
yeah.
Oh, that follows.
So yeah, he's probably just his YouTube channel is some like weird Christian YouTube channel. So he's probably just like a Christian nationalist. That would
Could
be
be,
my
yeah.
my guess. Yeah.
Yes.
The state would take care
Well.
of that like they do in the military.
Thank you,
And
Squid,
how
for
do
your
you plan
diligent
on
research.
getting that passed?
No problem.
What does that
guys.
have to do with anything?
Well, because
Let's
are
say
you
I
not
could
trying
never
to
get it
create-
passed. We're arguing the ideology of this system. What does that do
Well,
with anything?
What's the point in creating an ideology that will never work?
How are you going to get Marxism passed?
You're not.
So are
That's
you?
why it's
Aren't
a
you a
bad
Marxist?
idea.
But you're a Marxist, right?
How did you know that?
Well, I don't
Who
know.
told you
That's
that?
what your videos seem to imply, that you believe in
Did I
Marxism.
ever say
know
that I
that?
was in Marxist?
Oh, I don't know. Are you a socialist?
On a certain level.
Okay,
somewhat.
how are you going to get socialism?
Oh,
Like,
okay,
that's
never mind.
silly. That us making the comparison contrast between like socialism, capitalism has no bearing on whether or not I could somehow get this passed or have some plan to get it passed.
Okay.
I'm arguing about the ideology here.
Do you want to understand my belief, or do you just want to guess?
Well, hang on. What does that have to?
Ideology debate, kill me. There's gonna be two.
Oh my
people-
god, just get back to the discussion.
Get back to the voting. Yeah.
Yeah, like two people are gonna talk about shit that'll never fucking happen. Who cares?
Oh, apparently this whole section is the importance of worldviews in practice.
It's like 1 minute.
Well, there's only like 1 minute left. No one.
It wouldn't be. What I'm talking about is universal suffrage. You keep on making a conflation in terms. You think that because I say universal suffrage, that means no suffrage. I'm telling anything.
Well, why would you create a worldview that fundamentally cannot work in practice? That's
Well,
not
No, hold on.
for food and groceries and housing.
yes.
And how
I
not
could
trying
never
to
get it
create-
passed. We're arguing the ideology. Get Marxism passed.
Did you know that?
Oh, I don't know. Are you a socialist?
On a certain level.
Okay,
somewhat.
how are you going to get socialist? Like, that's silly. That us making the comparison contrast between like socialism, capitalism.
Okay.
I'm arguing about the ideology here.
Do you want to understand my belief or do you just want to guess?
Well, hang on. What does that have to? Do you know what I just said though?
Well, I mean, you just called me a Marxist.
do you
just called me
agree?
a socialist,
Well,
but
if
you
you're not a
don't even know what I
Marxist, I
believe.
said we're doing a comparison contrast of worldviews
There
and
was something
ideology.
edited out.
If we're doing contrast worldview and ideology,
Yeah, the
it's a
N-word.
non sequitur to ask me, well, how are you going to get it passed? What does that have to do with anything?
Well, why would you create a worldview that fundamentally cannot work in practice? That
Well,
sounds
it's
like
not
a waste
a
of time.
worldview that fundamentally cannot work in practice.
you couldn't
even
say
if
how
I
it works in
could, even
practice.
if I couldn't prescriptively tell you, like the next political chain of things we do to get there has nothing to do with whether or not the worldview in practice would work. I
Well,
have
do
many,
you have any practical guesses for how we could apply this to a modern day society?
Well, I just yeah.
I kind of like her argument on that. It's like, I don't care if, like, what you're saying is just
Yeah.
theory.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Policy is better than theory, but I don't know. His worldview could work in. I mean, if his worldview is literally
Maybe.
just like married dudes with land are the only ones who vote, that seems like.
I mean, with enough
very-
force, you can make any system work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just told you how we would apply it. You would have stakeholder democracy.
Okay, so that's just so one day we're just gonna flip a switch and have that. Like, I don't understand.
No, what do you mean? Okay, you could have an amendment for it. You could repeal the 19th Amendment. You could,
So you want to repeal the right to vote?
or just replace it. It wouldn't
With-
be. What I'm talking about is universal suffrage. You keep on making a conflation in terms. You think that because I say universal suffrage, that means no suffrage. I'm talking about limited suffrage.
So who gets to
I
decide
just
who gets the right to vote?
Didn't I literally just tell you who gets to decide who gets to vote?
Okay, so everyone who participates in this public service gets the right to
That
vote.
could be one way to do it. Yes.
Okay, and that anyone.
Emily, just because you, but the thing is like, just because you work in a public service or you join the military, it doesn't mean like you're gonna be an educated voter, right?
Dog, Hitler was in the military.
Well,
I don't. He just wants. He's just
Yeah.
like really upset about tribalism, and I still. The problem is we've moved on from. She seems to have like implicitly conceded that this tribalism point is like valid, as opposed to the reality of him. Like what he's describing is not even a problem. Like who cares
Yeah.
if people form groups to pursue their political ends, and if those groups happen to not be or happen to be in conflict. Like this is irrelevant. Under the system of democracy, those groups can hash it out in the House and in the voting block, as opposed to his system where people have to violently fucking hit each other to get what they want now because the majority of them can't vote. So it's fucking irrelevant. Like his statement
Oh, it's
is
silly.
irrelevant.
Yeah.
His idea is dumb.
yeah, it's just all dumb.
Yeah, it doesn't serve any good end. It's a waste of
Yeah.
everybody's time.
Anyone could do that. If you wanted to?
Yeah, people could do it if they're willing to give up X amount of years of their lives for unpaid service so that they could then
But
vote.
it's paid.
But it's not unpaid service because the government would be paying for their food and their housing. and
Yeah,
their-
but you wouldn't be getting anything additional to that
Okay, well, why not just have
You're still
civil
getting paid.
servants
It's
who
a,
are already...
a stipend.
because civil
Like,
servants
what-
have specific jobs to do, like working at the DMV and stuff like that, and working in the Social Security office.
So you're basically saying anyone who does community service should get the right to vote?
No, some sort of civil occupational service under the state that could be like civil firefighting work, maybe. Could be
Oh my
civil
God.
paramedic work.
He's literally just describing being a volunteer.
Yeah.
That's actually so funny.
It is.
Damn, bro, this is actually sick. You should actually, if you volunteer, you should get paid. That's true, King.
True.
That is crazy. Wait, what?
Yeah, he's basically
That's
just saying if you-
revolutionary.
I know.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm starting to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe volunteer firefighters are actually paid though, even though they're volunteer.
Or like, maybe like a little bit at least.
Yeah, or I don't remember how it works exactly. So
Work. It could be all. There's all sorts of different things you can look at for stakeholder democracy. When we've seen it applied around the world, it's been somewhat successful.
And do the laws apply to everyone in the society, or just the people who
Yeah,
choose
they
to
still
participate
apply
in
to
this
everyone.
democracy?
Yeah.
Okay, so how can you create and apply a law to people who are not represented? I just don't understand. Morally, how do you justify
There's
it?
nothing immoral about it.
There's nothing immoral about.
No.
I mean, but that's
Like
kind of
I would say, it's
consent.
more immoral. Why is it moral for an 18-year-old to nullify the vote of a 41-year-old if the 18-year-old doesn't even know what they're voting for? How's that moral?
Well, because the 18-year-old is still subject to the laws of the state.
Yeah, but they don't
If an
even know
18-year-old
what they're voting for.
Can an 18-year-old go to jail for 20 years?
I don't know. There's probably some 18-year-olds that there are definitely 18-year-olds that are like really smart, right?
It doesn't
I was
matter.
about to
He's-
say,
But
I
it
was
doesn't.
like,
but
how
it
does
also
that
doesn't
make
really
sense?
matter.
yeah, well, he's
Dude,
also
there's 41-year-olds that have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why we have Donald Trump.
Yeah, literally. Like, there's just go on fucking Twitter, bro, and you'll see all these dipshits defending tariffs and stuff like this.
We should give people the right to vote based on what they've posted on Twitter.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah. We just
Here's-
need. I'm just. I don't- it
Everyone's
seems like-
ruined.
I feel like he's just wants like white Christian married couples to vote.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's like,
No, I'm pretty sure that's his line of thinking.
but then he's pretending it's got something to do with like investment or like intelligence when it's because he
Yeah.
didn't even bring up land. He just brought up being married. Like, I don't understand how any
Yeah.
of this.
Or he said that was like one of his solutions. It's like,
I guess I would just ask. I would be like, so what's like the perfect solution? And if his perfect solution is like only married people, like in Christian marriages, are allowed to vote. Like, well, this doesn't. It's a lot of like I mean, biased, but you know, a lot of
Sure,
dumb
sure.
Christians, right? Probably probably like most of them, right? Not to be a hater, and then like. So it doesn't solve the intelligence problem, and then it also doesn't solve like the age problem because that just means like I would just get married at 18 and then get
Yeah,
or like sign
yeah.
a prenup, some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like I would just start gaming the system.
you just have
So it's
signs
like
that say "elope to vote."
Yeah, and then it's also like there's no reason to assume that like even within Christianity there's like different varieties, like
Yeah.
different flavors. There's no reason to
Yeah.
assume there wouldn't be tribalism. It's like all of his issues that he seems to have brought up are not a single one is.
There's like
fixed
no
by his-
grounding.
Yeah, there's
to
no.
any of
Well,
the
he
shit.
doesn't fix anything. Like,
Yeah,
if,
yeah.
If I assume what he said are problems and he thinks these
Yeah.
are problems, like the solution he's proposed, the real solution for him would be, frankly, just like a knowledge test. You would take like a civics test or some
Yeah.
shit, and if you pass, you can vote. That would be like his real. That would be like the actual solution to the problems he's identifying.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. But he's going
He does.
smokescreen, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's smoke screening and trying to like backdoor in this like whole the Christians should be the one voting thing.
Yeah, probably. Or just like fascism or whatever.
Yeah,
you know.
or yeah, some weird.
it could be
like,
both.
yeah, some weird like minoritarian, super small group of people control everything. Weird shit.
A 16-year-old can. Should they be able to vote?
16-year-olds can't go to jail.
Yes, they can. 16-year-olds can go to jail for life. Should they be able to vote?
I mean, no, but why?
Well, why
would they be
not?
going
Why
to
not?
jail
The
for
laws
it?
apply to them, though.
I think so. They can work. It's like as soon as you can work, you should probably be allowed to vote.
Why would a 16-year-old be going?
Hang
to
on,
jail
I don't
for it,
understand.
though?
Because you murdered someone.
That's an interesting
Okay,
take, actually.
that's fair. I mean, if you
Yeah.
murder someone, that's a whole.
So I don't understand. Why can't he vote? The
Well,
laws
because we
apply to
all
him. Why can't he
understand
vote?
that. Yeah, but we all understand that. a
No,
16-year-old
we all understand it's not an argument. Why does a 16-year-old get to vote, even though all the laws apply to the 16-year-old? Why does he get to vote?
Not all the lives apply. They start in juvenile detention, and then at 18.
One of the reasons. What is the reason it's at 18? Because like obviously that's where we have like the legal
Yeah.
age set. Isn't that partially like based on military service? You can go into the military at 18, or you can be drafted at 18, therefore you get the right to vote or something.
I have no idea. It could be like all the way around. I don't know, man. It's just like I feel like it's just an arbitrary number that through pure vibes we have arrived at, which
Yeah.
is not to insult. It's not to insult the number. It seems
Yeah, sure,
like
sure.
fairly reasonable, but to ground it in like some kind of super deep rational thought is like probably not super useful.
Yeah, yeah.
They get
So
the right
the-
to
so
go.
laws
They
apply
either-
to
they're
16-year-olds?
But you're retried at 18.
So
like when you
laws
start at
apply to 16-year-olds?
Some laws, of course.
Okay,
yes.
great. Why can't they vote then?
So babies should get the right to vote?
That's
I mean,
my
you're a
question
minor.
to you. That makes no sense. Exactly. So why do we limit it to 18?
Well, that's the age that we've defined as being a legal adult. That's the age that we as a country have universally agreed with our right to vote is.
Yeah, but what
the age
makes
of
that a
legal
good
adult.
idea? Just
That's
because
the
you
age of
arbitrarily.
consent. That's the age
Yeah,
of-
but just because you arbitrarily say, for instance, that because you're 18 and you're an adult, like you can't buy cigarettes, you can't buy beer, you can't
Yeah.
rent a car, but you're an adult.
I keep forgetting you need to be 21 to buy cigs now.
Oh
That
yeah.
was a cruel place.
And now you can vote in the
So would you like to
participation of
lower the
democracy.
age of
At
an
least raise
adult?
it.
So you'd like to raise it.
At least raise it.
So you would like to universally raise the age to vote. I think that
At
would be a better
least.
idea than like not
No,
allowing
no. What I
anyone.
said is at least do that. But the thing is, like, you're actually inconsistent here. Your whole argument is to say if laws affect people, they should have a right to vote. But we have an entire cast of people from the age 17 down who laws apply to and can't vote. And you just are like, you shrug that off like you didn't contradict yourself.
I'm pretty sure it has something to do with brain development. But we've all like you have to have an
Not fully
age at
developed
which-
till what, 25, according
But how
to
do you have a
the
society
studies?
in which you don't have an age that someone becomes a legal
I
adult?
agree, but why couldn't you have a society?
I don't know if my answer to this would be good, but I'd probably just be like, well, I don't know, but people that know more than I do determine it, so.
No, I mean, yeah, he would just be like, that's an appeal to authority fallacy.
But like,
You
you're
could
right.
Yeah, you could just. I mean, you could just turn to like. Well, then it would just be a normalcy fallacy to be like, well, like
Yeah.
the evidence. I would just say some shit like the evidence suggests like 18-year-olds are like a certain level of maturity to like make these decisions. Like because they've continued to do it and we're
Yeah.
fine. So I don't know. It seems
Yeah.
like it's a fine number to choose.
Yeah, it's like I don't have to give that deep of a reason for it. It's just like it seems it's been working.
Yeah,
far as we can
exactly.
tell.
Or and then if he's just gonna be like normalcy fallacy, then I like I don't know. I'd just be down to be like, okay, 25, whatever. Like, it's not really irrelevant.
Yeah,
right? Like this
I
is just
get
not. You just bite the bullet and you go, yep, 25, sure, whatever, bro. Like your system is still stupid.
Yeah, it's like no matter what, your system's dumb. Lightbringer says, I mean, kids shouldn't vote for other reasons. Maturity and one person could make 10 kids and ask all of them to vote the same stuff.
Yeah, I think you would. I would bet the legal argument is also like until the age of 18, like your parents just like represent you legally speaking. So it's like that'd be like the legal rationale why you can't vote because like you are not entitled to like represent yourself just yet. So
Well, I don't think that youngsters have that. I mean, like adults are really easy to influence. Like, I mean, look at social media. It's influenced so many people. So, you know,
it's so variable. Like, there's so
Yeah,
much
so,
that
like,
goes
you
into
could-
it. So,
I mean, you could convince people to vote for a certain person based on like social media
vibes.
I mean, that's how we get votes is by persuading people to by just like talking. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, as Squid said, like one of the things that he could just say would be have a civics test or something.
yeah, which I'm not supporting, but I'm just saying like it would make more
a
sense than
license to
whatever
vote
Andrew.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but whatever the fuck Andrew Wilson is talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, parents definitely have
Control over their children.
I mean,
yeah.
every single ideology, well, just about honestly comes from the environment they're in, and the majority of the time they're in a certain environment is with their parents. It influences them.
Vote
so,
this or go.
yeah,
we'll
that
go
makes
nuts,
sense.
yeah. All right. So we got about. We're gonna.
Dude, are we
We'll
trying to
finish
skip
up.
to like actually interesting shit? As opposed to more of
Well,
this bullshit.
well, I need to go have dinner, and we've been streaming for about
Okay.
3. Actually, how
yeah,
many
we
hours?
can end it. I don't know. This conversation is not very exciting right now so
Yeah,
far.
3
It's
hours.
just whatever.
I just hate Andrew Wilson.
No, he's
We-
stupid.
Yeah, he's dumb. Like that's if anything we've learned that he's dumb.
Yeah, I
to-
wouldn't say he has a lot of like worthwhile insight. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
Well, anyway.
if you need to go, then.
Yeah. I mean, I can leave the stream going for you guys. I would just like mute myself.
No,
But
that's fine.
I
We can
also-
still stream.
Yeah. Alrighty. All
I
right.
gotta eat anyway. Too.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed
Yeah.
the
Thank you for
stream.
joining.
Thanks, everybody.
Feel free to join the Discord. The link to the waiting room will also just take you to the Discord. And I think if you just go into the the verification channel, that you can verify, and you can be notified every time we do come up with the stream, etc., etc. Please check out Squid's Twitch and his YouTube at Deadliest Squid. He has some good stuff. He definitely is good at having takes, and that's one of the stuffs he does. So
Yep.
all right. So thank you for coming by, and have a good evening.